Blog Talk Radio.
Shalom, Lekulom. Peace to everyone. Welcome to the Reset Button Season 3. This season, we welcome the listener to join us while we journey through Isaiah, one of the most controversial books in the Word. We would like to accomplish understanding of the salvation of Israel mentioned. Is it one spoken of in the New Testament? Is it someone we're waiting on? Or is it in the past? Walk through this with us as we attempt to uncover this mystery. The call-in number is 516-595-8238. And press 1 at any time that you have questions or that you would like to leave a comment. Our collective email is histaught1talkradio@gmail.com. Our Facebook page is His Taught Ones and His Taught Ones Talk Radio. We also have the YouTube page at His Taught Ones Talk Radio. Subscribe and we'll be posting our episodes every week. Shalom and have a good show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another season of His Taught Ones. Talmidim, yo, here we go, back at it again. You did, yourself, Shema and some friends. We learned hard through better sheets, the Melechim, now fresh start to what is hot. I never yin, here come the prophets, they're dropping some knowledge, abolishing doctrines, apology nonsense. They bring the word, you can call them the pinpoint, given by the hand of the head, he is the pinpoint. Or could it be it's another? So many distances from the children, it's a misnomer. Honestly, the aroma is hideously unbearable. There is no one accord. How dare we say that we're hearing you?
Shil Yisrael, Holy One of Israel. Anachnu modim lecha al yom nosaf we al milah. We thank you for another day and for your word. Barech bivakasha et ha-mifkash hazeh. Please bless this gathering. Bo'u nishmiah. Let us say Amen. Amen.
Shalom, shalom, mishpacha. Shalom, family, peace. Welcome to another Shabbat rest show. Not rest show, I apologize. Contextual study. We're going through chapters 35 through 38 of Yeshayahu, Isaiah. And today we are one panelist member short. It will be Yosef and myself, Shema Ben Yael, a.k.a. Shema Talmido, going through these scriptures with you today. Yosef, you there?
I'm always here. I'm sorry. I need Khan. I am here.
Most deaf. Well, we are getting into these chapters. Did you have any opening statement before we begin?
I'm sorry, you just asked me if I had to open a statement before we begin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I missed the first part. I just heard before we began. I just figured. All right. Yes. I would like to say welcome everybody to the show. We're happy to have everybody here, just as usual. I'm going to sound like a broken record. We ask that you hit 1 if you have something to say. To go in the queue, to come out the queue, hit 1. We'd like to hear from everybody. I speak for me as Shema at this point. And even Yeti Yah, he listens back to the show when I say we would love to hear from everybody. No question or comment is stupid. I'll say that. It's a lot of times it might be something that we say or something that you might not understand. Even if we are explaining something you don't understand it, we ask that you please ask us, what we said or to explain what we said. We don't want anybody to have any confusion or anything like that. All praise to the Most High for allowing us to be able to gather again. And, I'm just happy about just to make it through another week. That's all. And just happy on everything that we got going and that it's been going for so long and we haven't quit. That's a miracle within itself. So that's all. And I hope y'all enjoy the show.
All right. Well, this is Shema, and my opening statement is pretty brief. I want to just be in agreement with my brother who just spoke. Excuse me if I'm talking kind of low. My son is asleep right now, so I'm kind of not trying to talk too loud. So bear with me if I'm too low. I'm sure yourself will let me know if I'm speaking too low. But you all went through, what chapters did you go through last week? I know you came up to chapter 34. You did 4 chapters, right, or 3? I think it was 4.
Last week, I believe we did 4 last week. Because one of them was real short.
Okay.
Just as well as, this week one of them was real short. I believe you sent the what you call it to let us know 35 to 38 is what we was going.
Yeah, I was just trying to confirm what chapters you did before. So today we're doing
31 to 31 to 34 was last week.
Okay.
And I think 31
was
extra short.
Okay. Well, ending off last week, I believe last week was ending off with the conclusion of the prophecy dealing with Edom's downfall. And this chapter is going into the rejuvenation process of Yisrael or Israel. I've been absent for the past week, I believe. So the way that you all do it is we're just going through it, right? No designated chapter. So we're just going through it together, correct?
Yes.
I'm gonna have your finger on
that button. Just like if you start one off, if you want me to start it off, that's cool. If you got something, just jump in whenever. If you start one off, I just jump in and let you know, I got something for that. I want to comment on that. That's how it's kind of been going. Just somebody starts it off and or give a general summary, and then if you get to a point where I had a point, I'll be like, hey, I just want to comment on that. That's how it's been going.
Okay. Well, yeah. At this point, like I said, from my reading of it, they ended off with the prophecy dealing with Edom's downfall, and this particular chapter 35 is it's like the rejuvenation period for Israel within this prophecy. When you go to verse 1, it starts off by saying, and I am reading the Stones edition of the Tanakh for those that might be tuning in. And I'm sure they spoke on, we don't have one specific book that we read or translation. Yah does the New King James Version. Yosef, he goes back and forth between a few, I believe, as well, but I know he used the ISR, or it's called something else now, TS, right? TS 2009, so the scriptures. And I go through this version, the Stones editions, Tanakh right now. So the first verse says, the wilderness and the wasteland will rejoice over them. The desert will be glad and blossom like a lily. It will blossom abundantly and will rejoice with joyous and glad song. The glory of Lebanon has been given to her. The majesty of the Carmel and the Sharon, they will see the glory of Yah, the majesty of our Elohim, or our God. So it's talking about a transitioning period at this point. And in the process of it talking about this transitional period, is giving some wise counsel as to how to deal with each other. It's telling you who to, amongst the people, who to strengthen, because in this time frame, you have trials that you went through and tribulations. People, their heads are down. They're weary in regards to some of these things. But it's telling in verse 3, strengthen weak hands and give support to the falling knees. And from my idea and thoughts dealing with this is pertaining to those that are not strong after what took place. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's telling them to encourage one another's faith in regards to this.
Can you do me okay, so you're at 3, correct? But sometimes your stones reads a little different. So if you don't mind, for me, if you say, verse what's called, I might have missed you saying it or whatever, but sometimes I'll be lost because of the different translations. So just let me know. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that was verse 3. Verse 3 says, strengthen weak hands and give support to failing knees. Say to those, verse 4, of impatient heart, be strong, do not fear. Behold, your Elohim, your God, will come with revenge, with divine retribution. He will come and save you. So this is the encouraging point I was speaking on. Did you have anything in regards to it?
Yes, but I have 4, 5, and 6. So if you have something for those,
you can take over.
Okay,
I was kind of
I had the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had the same thing highlighted as far as 4. And I wanted to point out, it says, Elohim, he is coming to save you. So at this point, Judah has not been gone into captivity yet. Judah has not been taken over yet. At this point, you're at, how can I say, you'll see where you're at in 2 Kings later on. So you can know a time frame. So that's all I want to say. The Elohim is coming to save you. We have to realize that what's going on in their time, and I'm going to help you out. You'll see what's going on in their time and why he's saying it. I'm very adamant about giving attribute of salvation to a wrong point right now, because I think that's a big thing that we do. We kind of this is salvation. And every time we see save you, or he will save you, or he's coming to save you, whatever, we kind of always make it for us. And not saying he won't save us, because that would be that'll be really totally against anything the book says as far as that the Most High is a Savior and he will save us and this, that, and the other. But we can't quote scriptures for us in this day and time if it's not for us in this day and time. That's just how we have to start operating if we want to be correct. Now, that's being politically correct, but if you don't, but by no means, and I'm only going to say this a couple times because I don't feel like beating a dead horse to death, but by no means am I saying the Most High is not going to save this generation today. I'm just letting you know that this is not one of those scriptures, and you'll see what's the events happening on later on. I wanted to talk about that. It says, then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf be opened. Then the lame shall leap like a deer, and the tongue of the dumb sing, because waters shall burst forth in the wilderness and streams in the desert. Analogy, and it's the eyes of the blind, analogy, the deaf ears be open, analogy. The lame shall leap like a deer. I don't think it's going to be some lame actually just leaping like a deer. The tongue of the dumb sing. what I see, maybe I might be wrong. This is why I highlighted it, but I saw that basically the hindering things, not blindness being the hindering thing, not deaf being the hindering thing, or the lameness, just their situations. They being in oppression, them being in bondage, them having people trying to attack them. Peace, you know what I'm saying? Peace, healing, all this other extra stuff. Healing the land, healing the people. And healing goes a lot deeper than just, I'm healed physically, healing and mentally, those type of things. Healing spiritually, those type of things is very, and a physical healing as far as the people's mind frame and mindset. All those things is important also. So if you had something, a comment to what I'm saying.
Yeah. In regards, before we go forward to the, because I'm going into 8. Unless you got something before 8, but I wanted to comment on something you said.
No, I had 8, so go ahead. You kick that one off.
Yeah, I wanted to comment on something he said, just in case we have any new listeners or people that listen back. Sorry, I was trying to see if my son woke up. We got to remember context is what he was trying to say, so I'm going to go back to Isaiah 1:1. I do this every 5, 6 chapters. I got to let you all know. So, for Isaiah 1:1, it says, the vision of Isaiah, son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah. That's context. The vision of Isaiah, son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah. So this book of Isaiah is concerning a specific time and dealing with a specific people, and we're going to see that within these next few chapters. I'm sure either me or yourself is going to bring it out. If nobody else, if the listeners might not bring it out before us, but we're going to bring out and show how this is really dealing with what it said. It's dealing with the kings of Judah. These 4 kings that mentioned, the discussion with these prophecies is 4. So I'm going to go ahead to verse 8 really quick. It says, a path and a road will be there. It will be called the road of holiness, and no impure person will transverse it. It will be for them. The way fair, even ignorant ones, will not go astray there. Now, it's 2 things I want to say about this. This right here shows that the way to Zion, or the way to the particular place that it's speaking of right now, is going to be available to all those people who, I guess you could say, earned it or deserves it. Now, what you see, what I just read, it also said the wayfarer, even ignorant ones, will not go astray there. So it's like you're not going to have room. Even if you're ignorant, you're still not going to go astray at this particular point. I remember earlier in our studies, I think it was yourself. I don't know if he said it on here or if he said it to me and Yediyah by ourselves. But I'm not going to go into that because I don't remember your exact words, but we was talking about comparison of how like people have another chance or something like that, or get to, I don't know. I'm way off right now. I'll talk to you about that another time. I don't know if you even know where I was going with it, but I forgot your exact words, so I don't want to, say the wrong thing. Did you have anything in regards to verse 8 and 9?
With it, I can kind of refresh your memory, but you ain't said enough. I ain't got enough context clues right now.
Yeah. I know that's because I don't really remember the exact words, but I don't want to bring another doctrine in because I don't even know if I believe what we were speaking of. But it was kind of like the doctrine of, after when the first or second death or something, people will be able to start over or something. I don't know. I forget what we was talking about. But I know this might be off topic, is what I'm saying. That's why I said I'll bring it up with you later, another time. But this kind of reminded me of, like, okay, you know, even those that are ignorant, in a sense, they don't know, they don't understand certain things or certain aspects, but their heart is what can determine them to still have that deserving spot in the end result, you know. And when they're in that end result, they're going to, regardless of their ignorance, they're not going to go astray, because now they're here, they're in this end result, they're being instructed the proper way, and there's no way for them to go astray. That's what I'm seeing. Maybe I can. This is just me speaking right now. I got to continue going and study into this particular portion of what's being said, but that's what I'm seeing. But if you don't have anything there, I'll keep going.
Hold on, man. My thing was just tripping for a second. I'm pulling it up again. How is it called? The way of the holy, the unclean does not pass. I did have this highlighted. Unclean does not pass over it, but for those who walk the way, and no fool wander on it. What I have to say about this? I think I'm not even finna really. Man, yes I am. If y'all look, it's a lot of key words in here, man, that you can get tripped up on. Okay? And I'm just here to make sure that you don't get tripped up on some of these keywords. So, I know y'all see words that sound familiar to you, but as in context, this has nothing to do with some of the stuff that you've heard before. And I'm going to go back up to 5 a little bit. The blind shall see, the deaf shall hear, the lame shall leap, the dumb shall sing. That sounds familiar. And then you have a way, should be called the way of holiness. Those who walk in the way, and no fools wander on it. You see what this, you know, in context, the Most High is saying this is basically, you know, analogies of His salvation, things to become, and like I say, it is an analogy. And if you read, and all I'm going to say is if you continue to read and you read, the, you know what I'm saying, the rest of the what you call it, you'll see that it's a lot of analogies that let you know basically what to explain the state that Israel will be in. That's all I'm going to say. And then I'm done for this chapter.
Okay, so yeah, when you go down to verse 9, it says, there will be no lion there. The boulders of animals will not ascend it, will not be found there. The redeemed will walk there. So this is two different people right here we were speaking of. Up here, it spoke of the ignorant, even ignorant ones will not go astray at the end of verse 8. Then at the end of verse 10, it says, now the redeemed will walk there. Then the redeemed of Yah will return, verse 10, and come to Zion of Zion with glad song, with eternal gladness on their heads. And we know that's not literal. They will attain joy and gladness, and sadness and sighing will flee. So this is a state of salvation, like he was speaking of, a point in time, or even a point of I want to say, you know how I said the sighing will flee, the sadness will flee. So this moment in time could be when captivity is over as well, because we know that the prophecy dealing with the captivity was in place right before here. So it's different. I know it's an exact, but I'm trying to figure out what point And we have someone in the queue before we go forward. Did you have anything to say before I bring them in? Or go ahead and bring them in.
Just going back, I wanted to go, if you go back to 34, just a little bit, just to let y'all, just like Shamar was talking about, I just want to give a little bit of context because, you might be like, hey, what was just talked about? So just in the beginning of 34, come you nations are here, listen to you people. Let the earth hear and all that is in it and all the offspring of the displeasure of the Most High is against all the nations. His wrath and the division he shall put under the ban, he shall give them under the slaughter. The slain shall be thrown out, and the stench rise of the corpse, and the mountains shall be melted with blood. All the hosts of the heavens shall rot away. The heavens shall be rolled up like a scroll. Wow, I ain't even really paid no attention to that. And all of their hosts fade like a leaf, fading on the vine, and like the fading one of the fig tree. None of that is literal. I mean, all the hosts of the heavens are going to rot away. The heaven's going to roll up like a scroll. None of that is literal. Okay, so, like we were saying last week, but my sword is drenched in the heavens. Then it talks about coming down on Edom. It's been a lot of judgment. It's been a lot of, Isaiah has been full of a lot of judgment, a lot of declarations against other nations, declarations against Israel, Judah, and so on and so forth. If y'all been walking with us, y'all seen a lot. It's been a lot of judgment going on and a lot of stuff. Even going back to Isaiah 7, where he was talking. Well, it was 8. I think it's 8 when he started talking about. I'm even gonna get at Ephraim, and have Assyria come take them. So, just to put you in the mind frame of what's going on. And then that's it. And you can open up.
All right, 612-275, you're live. 612-275.
Can you hear me? Oh, my phone is on mute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Okay. Thank you. Let's see. Shema has mentioned about the ignorance of people. And the scripture will say, I'm not truly following along. I'm washing dishes. But, and he took it another way than I seen it. And I seen it as he wouldn't let them stay ignorant. Not that you get to continue walking in your ignorance, and because of your ignorance, you get, or this happens. I see it as the Father's not going to allow them to stay ignorant to the point where, things are brought to us and we say, oh, I didn't know. Not that, oh, so what? I'm still going to stay walking in this way because this is my belief. I don't see that is the same thing.
I said exactly what you said.
What I'm saying.
I said what you said.
Okay.
I said the distance kind of probably came in the way.
No, I've seen it as you're saying that even though they're ignorant and because of their heart, they still get a pass. I see it as he doesn't allow you to stay there in your ignorance. So that's what I was saying. And then the scripture you were reading about the lion and the that just made me think of a dream I had. And I don't know, I hadn't read Isaiah at all. And so just mind-blowing, that same scripture that you read is a dream that I had. So awesome to the Father. And then Yosef has said something I wanted to comment on. Oh, no. You did. About as far as this is for that day, for the days of the kings. And those prophecies is for that day, the days that happen, as far as that during that time. So my question is, are those things not going to happen again, as far as the lame being able to be healed, and not the lame as far as the physical lame or the physical, but, spiritual, and I guess it could be natural too, And the analogies, is that not for today either, or that's just we're just reading history and that's what it is? And then my next question would be, what would be the purpose of the history if it's not for us today? Those are my questions.
Okay. Well, let me answer because I want to respond.
Pretty sure.
Let me answer real quick because I want to respond first to the first thing she said. I was saying the same exact thing is what I'm saying. She said that he will not allow you to remain ignorant. So they got to where they was because of their sincerity, right? So their ignorance is not going to be remained because he's going to show them, like I had said, the instructions on how to do whatever they're supposed to do, so they won't be ignorant anymore, is what I had said. So I was saying the same thing that she said is what I was trying to say. But in regards to the history part of it, I think that the history is there for us to know it. I think that, I believe that, like when I read off in the first verse of Isaiah chapter 1, it actually let us know in what time frame it was. I think in the next couple of chapters too, we're going to see that we're going to read the same thing that was said in Kings, which we know that Isaiah's time and this whole Isaiah is all connected, like Yosef brought out a little while ago, with Kings and Chronicles. Actually, we're not in Chronicles yet, but we're going to see that these are all connected. So it's for the history portion. I think it's for us to kind of like understand the history of our forefathers, our foremothers, things dealing with that. The third thing she said, I believe, does the lame and things like that, can that apply to us? I don't know if that's exact words, but if I'm on the same lines, I'll just respond to what I believe you said. There's nothing new under the sun. That's what Scripture says. I think we all can maybe attest to that too, depending on the scenario and the situations. I do believe that, people who are, but I think it's a spiritual thing too. Like he was bringing out how, I don't think, he was saying like what you said, this is spiritual right here or analogy. I think that I was blind at one point to understand that. And then now I'm not blind to the understanding. I'm continuing to grow and get rid of those scales off my eyes, so to speak. So it kind of goes into it even lines up with the first part of what me and you was just speaking on, sis. The ignorance is starting to go away. That's why I was saying, this can be speaking of a salvational standpoint from a standpoint of spiritual or actually a physical at the time of their captivity. And I said that's why I think I said I'm at this point right now. I'm allow this to continue to manifest, the understanding to continue to manifest. So that's my answer to those different things. I'll let yourself take over if you want to.
I don't know if you was on at this point. I'm not gonna say you was or whatever. But before, and so you might have caught the back end because I did say something along that lines, or Shema might have repeated it. But as far as for this time, I did say that also, and I wanted to say, how do I address this? Yes, history does repeat itself. That's what I want to say first. I did also say that I'm not saying that it's not like it won't happen or it can't happen this way. We just can't attribute this prophecy to us. That's what I'm saying. Because he was speaking to a group of people, telling them something, and telling them something's going to happen in the near future for some of them, as we will see. He was prophesying and giving them relevant stuff to what they had going on. You know what I'm saying? And nowhere before this did he say, in after times, latter times. Even latter times mean a later time to come, but if those words aren't even mentioned, like latter times, then we have to figure, all right, what is he talking about? Because he never said, in a far distance from now, this will happen. He's just, you know what I'm saying, he's telling you what's going to happen to people, and judgment that's going to happen to other nations. So in retrospect and in context, we just got to talk about Edom. And we could. It's a lot of people out here making things up. And every prophecy that they see, it applies to them because they see something that might be relevant to their situation. But guess what? That doesn't mean the Most High has to do it exactly like he read it right here. We just know that he's capable of salvation. So for me reading it, I know what he's capable of. It strengthens what I know that he's done for the people, and it also gives me, I'm learning it to find out how this culture, you learn from your father's mistakes. That's basically what did they do wrong? What did they do right? What made them move? What didn't? Why was he upset? How did he save them? So I know they made a mistake because, I see it. So now what? Okay, so as we go on more, because this is just the first prophet, we just got to take each one as it comes because, to be honest with you, before I started doing this, I thought a lot of these prophecies that have not have anything to do with us did. So now, all that other stuff that I had in my head beforehand, before pressing the reset button on everything, it's kind of like a blur because I don't know what to think about that stuff no more. I can just tell you about right here. And I hope that answered the last part because Shema answered the first part. So, what I can say is, I said this to the other day. I said, from my memory, it's some apocalyptic prophecies in this book. Some end time prophecies are in this apocalyptic. It would, especially where it would seem that is for the last generation. So I just can't wait to get there. Also, Isaiah is very different from some of those other prophets because Isaiah is supposed to be the salvation of Israel. So this is focused on a lot on the salvation of Israel, when in actuality it might not, or everything that is focused on Israel for the end times is not, lined up with what they think it does. And like I say in the mission statement, is it a salvation for then? Is it for now? This is what we're working on, essentially right now. So I hope that answered your question. Even, to more than a surface level. Is she still on? You still live? I don't know if you muted her or not.
No, I had muted myself.
She's still
but
live.
Okay. Thank you.
Is that sufficient? I don't want to leave you wanting and saying I done politicked you.
You know what? I'll eat with you later. I'll leave it alone. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
All right. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure I add on there, man. It's just we want to see in these next couple chapters how Yosef and Yediah have brought out the connection of the kings, those 4 kings, So we're going to see in the next couple chapters. Did you want to lead off 36? We don't have anybody else in the queue. And Sister Hokma, if you can you just press 1 so I know to bring you back in if you have something else to say. And tada. Thank you.
Okay, I think I had a lot more for this chapter, so it's cool. I'm going to read the first one. And it came to be in the 14th year of sovereign of his Yahoo, his Yahoo, or Hezekiah. I'm going to just say Hezekiah for the listeners. But everybody else's name, I'm reading out the ISR, I'm sorry, today. I was reading out of KJV like last week. I've been going back and forth to try to relate to what people hear or have heard for a long time. Forgive me, this time I kind of wanted to see something different. So I'm going to say that for Hezekiah, I'm going to say Hezekiah. For the other people, I'll probably say the Hebrew name because I don't know what it is in the English name, and I'm not on it right now. So, and it came to pass for 14 years, sovereign Hezekiah, that Sanherib, sovereign of Asher, came up against all the walled city of Judah, and took them. Okay, so it's telling you what happened. Here's the king. This is what Shema was just talking about. All right. And basically, in number 2, I'm just going to summarize. Sovereign Asher sent the Rav Shequeth with a great army from Lachish to the sovereign. He wanted to send him a message. All right. And then in 3, and there came to him Eliakim, son of Hilkiah. This is Eliakim, the same one we talked about beforehand. The government would be on his shoulders and such and such, if I'm not mistaken. And I was gonna read from 6. I don't know where you really got something, so you can kind of cut me off because I'm reading some things, some pinpoints of it, just to give context. But
you good.
I'm gonna show something in a minute, okay? And so basically, Rav Shakwe, he says to them, this is his message, okay? This is 4. That's how it starts out, all right? Basically saying, why do you trust and who you trusting in? And number 6, he says, you trusting in Egypt, okay? And then 7 say, but if you say we trust in Yah, okay, our Elohim, is it not he whose high places, whose slaughter places Hezekiah has taken away and has said to Judah and to Jerusalem, bow yourselves before this slaughter place? So, to me, it seems like it's some confusion here, too, of what really happened. I think we talked about this when we ran over the 2 Kings. This is 2 Kings in 20. To be this whole situation is in 2 Kings 20. It's going to be a repetition. I'm not going to go over too much.
Now, wait,
I promise you something, almost word for word.
Before you continue, I just want to say something. I want you to say it slower. Say what you just said so the listeners could see that is exactly what I just said to them. And this is going to confirm what we're speaking of with Isaiah. What you just say, this is a repeating of what?
Oh,
what
2
chapter?
Kings 20.
What book?
20.
2 Kings 20.
2 Kings 20.
So this goes right.
It's about word for word. I got it bookmarked. I can go there, but it's word for word.
Yeah.
That's what I can say.
I just wanted to
just
tell
about,
you all.
like
this
now,
is,
some of the same stuff.
So this is we're going to see this in this chapter, and we're going to see it in the next chapter. All of this is connected. So this confirms what Isaiah speaking of, or what we're saying in chapter 1, verse 1 of Isaiah. This is concerning the 4 kings and prophecies pertaining to their situations, and what Isaiah was a part of as well. This is what Isaiah is talking about. This is what we're reading about. I just want to point that out. Go ahead.
Yeah, we've been going through that and showing it, and I'm just going to really kind of summarize the situation because honestly, it goes into detail. I'm going to highlight some very key passages. It goes in just great detail. I guess this situation is actually repeated because some other times in 2 Kings or whatever they have the detail, Isaiah, kind of brushes over it, or because you got to understand it's a different person, it's a different perspective. Whoever wrote that part over there, and Isaiah's scribe or Isaiah himself or whoever, they recorded what's going on here was on point with this. I guess this is something that they wanted you to know. So, 10, and now it's come up, and now have I come up without Yah against the land to destroy it? Yah said to me, go up against this land and destroy it. And Eliakim, Shabna, and Joab said that Rabshakeh speak to your servants in Aramaic. I'm pretty sure y'all remember this part, the Aramaic part. For we understand it, do not speak in the language of the Jews in the hearing of the people who are on the wall. Matter of fact, let me do something real quick. 2 Kings. Okay, 20, hold on. 19. Oh, I'm sorry. I gave you 20. 20 was the last one I was looking at. That lines up later on. So I recant that. That back So this is in 2 Kings. I want to start. I think I want to start at 18, but I'm not gonna read. Hold on. Okay, yeah, 18, and then it's at 21. Okay, and at 21 it starts saying you put your trust in Egypt, and then it says what you're saying to me, blah blah blah. Then you go down, and it's telling you speak in Aramaic. You know what I'm saying? The same word for word. I'm actually on 18, and you could tell me how much it even lines up. Then I go 2 verses down. It says, and Rav Shakwe stood out and called out in a loud voice in the language of the Jews and spoke and said, hear the word of the great sovereign of Asher. The next verse says, and I'm reading out of 2 Kings. Okay, so as y'all see, it's a lot. It's just telling you about the situation. In the next couple verses, he's basically telling him, like if y'all remember, hey, don't trust in Hezekiah. He's telling y'all some wrong stuff. He's telling you to trust here, trust here. Just basically, y'all better fall in line or get rolled over. And you see what we did, you know how we get down. And that's without me going into like great detail. Let me go back. I want to go back to Isaiah. In my book, 2 seconds, because I highlighted the things for a reason. Because I wanted to show how this man thought. In 10, he says, and now I've come up, however, I come up now without Yah against this land to destroy it. He basically said, Yah told me, or told us, he's the messenger, Asher, Yah told us that to come destroy this land. So y'all just might as well fall in line. Okay? He's trying to convince them. And it's crazy how these people thought. That's the thing that I said, that they came up and it was like basically saying that the Most High is instructing them to destroy them. They're even using their own deity or entity or God against them. You know what I'm saying? That's some hard convincing right there. And notice that the people of Asher, Assyria, speaks Aramaic and they speak Hebrew. Something else to note. You had anything before I go on? Shema?
Oh, I'm sitting up here talking with the mute. I apologize. I've been talking with the mute for about 10 seconds. To comment on what you just said about them speaking both languages, it's interesting because, like speaking on like the Arabs, they have their children learn both Aramaic and Hebrew. That's why a lot of times you will find that they can speak both languages, because they started learning both. Yep.
Everybody in Israel does. I ran into a guy, went to a store, and this guy told me, he said, I seen a bar or something, and I was like, what is this? And I knew the word, like I could say the word. They were just amazed that I even knew Hebrew letters, but it had Aramaic on it too. So I was like, what is this thing or whatever? He was like, oh, that's from Israel. This is this paste or something. And he said that his brother's in Israel, and he knows both, and everybody knows both. He used to know both, but he hasn't lived over there, so there's no need for him to speak Hebrew. So with his family, of course, they are first national, they speak Aramaic. But he wasn't the only person to say it. That was just one example. Somebody else, I was talking to. That's from Israel, was crazy. But they, Arabs, or whatever you want to call them, and they was from Israel, whatever, and they was even saying, yeah, we speak both. But if they're away from the land too long, they won't speak both. They kind of forget because they don't use it. they keep their language. Oh, but yeah, that's it. That's just a confirmation to what you were saying.
Mhm. All right, so what did you leave off at?
I kind of summed up what he was talking about. Speak to us in their language. That's in 11. So.
Okay, yeah. So he just, like you said, told him to speak it out. He was just basically trying to scare the people. To sum it up, he was trying to scare the people, and it was kind of weird or strategic of him to try to use, like he said, our deity, our Elohim, saying that he spoke with him. So basically, he was lying, and then just trying to use his position to terrorize or scare the people. So, and to confirm what I'm saying about that, you see that in verse 21. He says the people remained silent and did not answer him a word, for there was a command from the king saying, "Do not answer him." I mean, I really didn't have anything else in this chapter. So if you don't,
hold on, I got something. No, I said I didn't know if you had to jump in or not, because I was.
Oh, my fault.
I said so I'm there, but I do got something a little bit. He says 17. Sorry. He told, don't listen to Hezekiah. 17 says, "Till I come, then I shall take you away to a land like your own land, and a land of grain and new wine, a land of bread and vineyards. Beware." He said, "Lest Hezekiah mislead you, saying, Yah shall deliver us." He's slanging that man. Don't even listen to him when he say Yah shall deliver. "Has any one of the mighty ones of the nations delivered its land from the hand of the king of Assyria?" If y'all hear what he's saying. We done took over a bunch of lands. Did any of these other guys trip out? Okay? I like this dialogue. This dialogue is cold. All right? Then he asked him again in 20, he says, "Who among all the mighty ones of these lands has delivered their land from my hand that said that Yah should deliver Jerusalem from my hand?" He talking big. He talking down on the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Like, first he say, "Y'all the one sent me." And then he say, "And don't let Hezekiah tell you that Yah came and finna deliver you," because that's what happens. Honestly, every time we got a situation, somebody comes and they gonna come and they be like, "Hey, Yah finna save," and he do. So he say, don't let them fool you. You know what I'm saying? He say, did it work for any of the rest of these people? So don't think y'all gonna do it, because they didn't do it. He done equated the Most High, just like the rest of them. Just see how that works out. And then 22. Then Eliakim, son of Hezekiah, who was over the household. You know what I'm saying? That's Eliakim. He was over the household. Shebna, the scribe, I guess that was the homie. They wrote the stuff down. And Yoah, son of Asaph, the recorder, came to Hezekiah. So Eliakim, son of Hilkiyahu, that's not Hezekiah. And then they came to Hezekiah with their garments torn, and they reported to him the words of Rabshakeh. So I just wanted to repeat that, and I would just go for the last one, because after he said that, they didn't say nothing like Shema said. Now they ran over there after they had heard all this, and they repeated the words to the king. And we can move on from there. Yes. Because that's all I got. Check your music.
All right. Does anyone, any of the listeners, have anything to add? Any comments, any questions before we go to the next chapter, chapter 37?
How about this? Let me ask you like this: what are your comments? What are your questions? It's just something I learned at Yale. If I'll tell you about it later, Shema.
Oh, you was asking me what's my comments and questions?
No, I'm saying to the listeners. To the listeners, period.
Oh, okay.
Well, we can keep it pushing, though.
All right. So here we are in chapter 37, and Hezekiah is at a point where he is distressed. So he sins. I'll just read it. Verse 1 says, "It happened when King Hezekiah heard this, he rent his garments, and he donned sackcloth, and went to the temple of Yah. He sent Eliakim, who was in charge of the palace, and Shebna, the scribe, and the elders of the Kohanim, all dressed in sackcloth, to Isaiah, son of Amos, the prophet." So we see he's distressed at this point from what's being said. But I want to point out something, and this is something that we've seen when dealing with people of Elohim, people of God. I would say, more importantly, these ones that's looked at as doing right in the eyes of God, right in the eyes of Elohim. Check out what he says in verse 4. He says, "If only Yah, your God, will hear all the words of Rabshakeh, your God." So it's like, okay, that's Hezekiah's God too. Now, we said this before, we brought this up, but I just want to show it's a form. This is what I'm seeing. I could be wrong, but Hezekiah know that Yod Heh Yah is his God, but yet and still when he's speaking to the prophet Yeshaya or Isaiah, he refers to, which is his God as well, as your God. If only Yah,
I didn't even see that
before my words. Then he goes down at the end of verse 4. He will punish him for the words that Yah, your God, heard. Your God. He ain't even saying my God or anything like that. So I just wanted to really point out that right there. Did you have anything before we continue, or before I continue?
Yeah. And 4, I didn't catch that. Yeah, your God. That's a good catch, because I think you was the one that showed. Yeah, you was the one that showed a while ago how they was coming to the men. The Most High is like, okay, go to the man of God and say something. He'd be like, can you pray to your God? It's like, hold on, ain't that your God too? Like, we don't even speak that way, so it's got to be something culturally that we see now. I like that. That was a good catch. But on mine, I was gonna say, notice that he say, therefore lift up your prayer for the remnant that is left. Okay, so now we already got down to this remnant. Okay, the remnant is Judah, if I'm not mistaken. I might be a little off on my times, because Assyria come take the 10, just like the Most High say happened. But I might be a little off on my time. But what I do know is what he said is, therefore lift up your prayers for the remnant that is left. So they already referred to as the remnant. Okay. So that's one thing I wanted to point out. But I got some at 6. If you got some, keep on rolling with it.
Go ahead. You could go. You might end up going into what I'm going into. So go ahead.
Okay. And then Isaiah said to them, say this to your master. Thus says Yah, do not be afraid of the words which you have heard, which the servants of the sovereign of Asher have reviled. Okay. So 37 and 6. Okay, I'm gonna look at that. A minute. And then it says, see, I'm putting a spirit in him and he shall hear a report and return to his own land. And I shall cause him to fall by the sword in his own land. Now he disrespected the Most High. They disrespected the Most High. The little bit before that, right? Said, man, how he gonna save you? Woo, woo. Gave the message to the king. King comes out there, and this is the Most High say back. Oh, he be dead in a minute. And I'm gonna put a spirit in him. Now, I want to reflect a little bit on this spirit, right? This word is just tricky. You know what I'm saying? But
my word say a little
go
different than that too, by the way.
What yours say?
I just wanted you to know that it says, "Behold, I am instilling a desire within him."
Okay. Yep. That's where I was going. So yours renders it the way that I would explain it. So just the spirit can't mean like he said, like his desire. You know, his spirit was moved to do this. He had an evil spirit in him. You know what I'm saying? Those type of things also have meaning of the emotion, mind frame, to whether or not they was convinced or not. So, but it's referred to as spirit. So in our day and age, we might call it a mind in your mind. So just another cultural thing on how they felt about the word spirit. Okay, it can mean a whole bunch of stuff, especially ruach. I mean, wind and breath and life, whatever, a bunch of definitions. But when it talks about putting a spirit in him, okay, let's say this. If you was to believe that's a spirit like an evil spirit, now you would have to say, at least keep and hold this notion, that the Most High gives people demons. And a lot of people might not agree with that. I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm not saying he does. I'm just saying this is what the scripture said. We're going to take it as like that. We got to roll with that thing. I'm just making sure we just keep it rolling. Right? But as far as what I see, the spirit meaning is rendered as far as his book says a desire. And that also raises back to something that I said a long time ago about the Pharaoh, hardening his heart. And I remember, we kind of talked on the show a little bit. I had a different feeling about we was talking about free will and stuff like that. And I'm not saying it violates a free will to do whether or not you want to choose life or choose death. But sometimes your options are limited. That's one thing. Choose life or choose death. I don't know. I guess I'll choose life. I mean, there's really two options. Whatever. So, in retrospect, I see the Most High change. Like, he might make you feel a certain kind of way about something. Knowing that feeling that certain kind of way of something is going to make you do something else. So the chain of fence to kind of blow that. So maybe my mind frame might have changed a little bit from original, just him making you like robotically almost do it like boom, into knowing the aspects of it, like maybe give it a more elaborate. But that's what I see when it says like for me, because you see the Most High operates in changing the way people feel. So he makes them feel this way, so they can do exactly what he wants them to do. So things can happen. That alone for me is deep in discovery of knowing who the Most High is. A lot of us have to understand that he's in everything. We try not to think of evil things or things, but if you look at this situation, I know people might be empathetic to you. Oh man, he got killed. You look at this situation, he just had that man go get knocked off, and he been knocking off people that mess with the wrong people, especially, but he been knocking off people left and right if he want to. If you talk, especially you talking trash about him. So, just something to look at. All right, so I'm going to say I'm going to go to 9. Well, 8 it says, and the Rav Shekwe returned and found the sovereign of Asher fighting against Libnah, and he had heard that he had left Lachish. And he heard concerning Terhaqua, sovereign of Cush, he has come out to fight with you. And when he heard it, he sent messengers to Hezekiah, saying, speak to Hezekiah, the sovereign of Judah, saying, do not let your Elohim in who you trust deceive you. Okay, so now you took it to their fathers. Don't let your God trick you. Okay. Is saying Jerusalem is not given into the hand of the sovereign of Asher. It's a big thing to discourage the people too. Discourage the king get discouraged, the people get discouraged, you know. But in this aspect, the Most High didn't say they had to fight. So you do have a difference in victories too. Everything is good, let's go fight too. Isn't that a great thing, right? See, you have heard the sovereign of Asher has done to all the lands by putting them under the ban. Are you going to be delivered? So he's telling them what he had done, and he's basically saying what makes you different. And he says that he names these certain different places, a couple of these different places in 12. And then in 14 it says, and Hezekiah received a letter from the hand of the messengers and read it. And Hezekiah went up to the house of Yah and spread it before Yah. Okay, so he got the message already, but he's still kind of discouraged, right? And then he makes a prayer to him. Hold on. 1 second. Okay. Now, I don't know. I'm at 15, Shema. I don't know if you want to, say anything. If you don't, cool, whatever. If you had something beforehand on any of them, just let me know. I'm just kind of giving the summary of what's going on. All right. So he made a prayer to the Most High, right? And he started saying this, listen to me and this and the other, right? And, they make their big words. And then I like 19. Okay, it's talking about what Asher did, right? It says, and he put their mighty ones into the fire, for they were not mighty ones, but the works of men's hands, wood and stone, and they destroyed them. And now, O Yah our Elohim, save us from his hand, so that all the reigns of earth know that you, Yah, you alone. All right? So this is poetic, beautiful language. All right? Then Isaiah said,
you're looking for the letter C.
Correct.
Okay, let's try it now.
Yeah, you got something you want to add?
No, go ahead. I'm listening. No, I'm just listening.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
my bad. Okay. Yeah, I thought you had something to say. All right. Okay, so now they asking the Most High to save them from this physical hand that's coming down. This things happening. This is the word which Yah has spoken concerning him. The maiden, the daughter of Zion, has displeased you and mocked you. Daughter of Jerusalem has shaken her head behind you. Whom have you reproached and reviled, and against whom you raised your voice and lift up your eyes in pride? Against the set apart one of Israel. We go through this. It's like, blah, 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 blah. Who did he just talk about? Yah. All right. Yah is the set apart one of Israel. This, that, and the other. You know what I'm saying? This is for the salvation and death of this type, because it's more to talk about. But right now, Hezekiah got this problem. And And I had something in 26. Have you not heard long ago how I made from days of old that I formed it? Now I have brought it about that you shall be, that you should be a crushing walled cities into heaps of ruin. Okay? So his message back to the sovereign of Asher was, the Most High says, you don't know who I am? Tuh. You ain't heard who we was and what I did. So now, I'm finna do it to you, since you talking crazy. Because now, Israel got a reputation. They done walked through dominating to get where they at. And it's just some other people that tried to come against them. So, because if you notice, Ahaz, Isaiah came around for 2 salvations. That's why, it's good. He had spoke about Ahaz and 7. 7 had a problem. Rexon and Remaliahu. And Ephraim, they had Confederate. You go into a whole nother king, this one more righteous than that one, they got a problem. And Isaiah's the same person telling them about it. Boom. And it was 29. It says, because your rage against me and your pride. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted, because you down at 29, you said, right? Let me just go back to real quick to 16. I don't know if you brought that in, but verse 16, real quick. I just want to put this out there. It says, Yah, Master of Legions, God of Israel, throned upon the cherubim, you alone are God of all the kingdoms of the world. You made heaven and earth. So, 2 things. Yah made heaven and earth. Number 1 thing I really want to point out, or 3 things. He's the God of Israel, most definitely. We know that. But he's also the God of all the kingdoms of the world. So he is not only just the God of Israel. A lot of people in certain doctrines will push that and say that's the case. But we do understand if you're the creator of all the world, the heavens and the earth, that makes you the Elohim, the power, the creation. So that makes you the God of them as well. And this is what Hezekiah, I believe it was, who was speaking, was stating. So I just wanted to point that out. I'm not sure if you mentioned that when I stepped away. But go ahead and continue, if you can.
No, I had to take my phone off mute. That was a good catch, too. And I ain't even want to, beat no dead horse, but as you can see, this is the way that they thought back then. And the way that they talked. And this is the way that they gave reverence to the Most High. This is an act of reverence right here. They get the praise in his name, in his reputation, before they even, I'm seeing something. You know what I'm saying? They govern for prayer, and they saying, basically, the creator of all things, Most High God, they talking bad about you. You know what I'm saying? And this is how he's saying it. So it's just like I say, the way that they thought. And this isn't the first time, but Isaiah kind of brings this to fruition because it's some, I know for a fact Isaiah gonna say some things himself. But we'll get there when we get there. But this is Hezekiah. This isn't Isaiah. And we've seen this said beforehand. Somebody else said it, I believe. Or we might have been in Kings talking about Hezekiah. Well, we'll see, I guess. So, anyway. That was a good catch, too. All right, 29. Because your rage against me and your pride has come up to my ears. Okay? Figure of speech, pride coming up to your ears. Okay? I shall put my hook in your nose and bridle in your lips, and I shall turn you back by the way which you came. Okay. And this shall be a sign for you. This year, you eat such as grows for itself, and the second year which springs from that, and the third year sow and reap, plant vineyards, and eat the fruit of them. Okay. And the remnant who has escaped of the house of Judah shall take root downward and be fruitful upward. Something like a plant. For out of Jerusalem comes forth a remnant, and those who escape from Mount Zion, the altar of Yah of hosts, does this. Okay, so this is the remnant he's talking about. He says, and he's talking to them. He says, look, this is what's going to happen. All right, this is the sign for you. Okay, sometimes I feel like they can't even get any clearer when he say that. And that was a good thing. This year it such as grows of itself. The second year, what springs from that. And the third year, sow and reap, plant vineyards and eat the fruits of them. That's nothing bad. There wasn't a famine. There wasn't anything. It was good stuff. You're gonna eat off of what grows from the first stuff. Anyway, I was shot down to 35 in mine. And I shall defend this city to save it. Okay, I was beaten. That horse. All right. For my own sake and the sake of my servant Dawid. So it still goes back to the promise that he done had to Dawid or Dawid. So that's a repetition of things. Okay, the Most High would do something. He's like, I ain't even doing it because y'all right. I'm doing it because it's got to do with my name and what I done told somebody else. So it ain't even something that you deserve. All right. And it says, and a messenger of Yah went out and struck the camp of Asher, 185,000, and they rose early in the morning and saw all the dead bodies. Okay. So there's a messenger of Yah, might render angel. The Lord went out.
We got someone in the queue.
At this moment, we don't. Okay. At this moment, we don't know what it is. And I just got the last verse. And it came to be as he was bound himself in the house of Nishrak, his mighty one, the son of Adramelech, the Sharetzer, struck him with the sword, and they escaped in the land of Ariak, and his son Esarhaddon reigned in his place. So this happened. This is how he died. Okay, I'm sorry, I should have told you that. This is okay. And Sanherib, the sovereign of Asher, broke camp and went away and turned back and remained to Nineveh. All right, and it came to be as he was dying himself. That's the next one. That's what I just read. So yeah, he got knocked off. He got a message. Boom, you're gonna die anyway. I'm turning you back to where you come from. I'm the man. I ain't like the mother God, and I'm finna smack you. You went back and got smacked. That's that's the end of that one. So you can open up the queue.
Happy Sabbath, brothers. Shabbat Shalom. This brother Mercy. I just wanted to say that I wanted to touch on that verse that Yosef had read about putting a spirit into him. Then he said he will hear a rumor and return back to his own land. That's interesting because the thing is, the rumor eventually had to surface. And that rumor is, how Israel came to be. He can't, if you think about the thing, a lot of times when people speak against the Most High, it's because they're ignorant. They for some reason, they don't know how Moses brought them out of Egypt. They don't know that. And for some reason, you got Jews today who, a lot of the pale-skinned Jews like to say that Moses never existed. People say that today in 2018. Moses never existed. Wow. So, I can see how the king of Assyria, he's going to hear a rumor. Like some of these people who think they rule the world is going to hear some rumors, and they going to go crazy and go back to your own land. Because only a crazy person would say that Moses never existed and that the Most High never established Israel and that he's not going to bring his people back. So I have to say that this is key because you got a lot of people today. You know, you got the kings. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go back to verse. It says verse down here. It says in verse, verse 26. Have you not heard, says God, that I did it long ago, that I planned it in ancient times. Now I have brought it to pass that you, king of Assyria, will be my instrument to fortify cities into ruinous heaps. The term fortify cities, ruinous heaps. So he used the king of Assyria as his instrument to destroy certain kingdoms. Now, since he's used them, and now, you know, sometimes instruments, you know, they have expiration period, and those instruments are no longer of any use. But he also says, what is that verse I was looking for? He says he knew everything about him. He knew everything about the king of Syria. And even though the king of Syria don't know who he is, he knows everything about him. And I just wanted to say that the Most High knows these rulers of the world and knows every detail about them. In verse 1-3 said, whom have you taunted and blasted, against whom you have raised your voice, and harshly lifted up your eyes against the Holy One of Israel. So only a crazy person will blaspheme the Most High and think he's not going to respond. So I think this man is a little crazy. That's why he's going to run just by hearing a rumor. And I just wanted to say, guys, our enemies, there's going to be some enemies that's going to run away just because they heard a rumor. And so that's all it takes for some of my enemies to run away to their own land. I think that's good news. Some battles we ain't going to have to fight. But that's all. This is Brother Mercy out.
Brother Mercy repeated not repeated, just at the end. Some battles we ain't got to fight. Same thing I said. So, like I said, that's good news. You know what I mean? And I agree, man. You got to be a crazy person to be able to talk bad. Now, it went to don't let Hezekiah fool you. Then it was like, don't let your God get you messed up. Because we've been doing it. So his pride, you know what I'm saying, got the best of him. And that's what essentially got him knocked out. Shemai, you got it.
All right. So are we, what was at the end of chapter 37? Where are you at?
Yeah. That was the end.
Okay, cool. So do we have anybody that have any comments or questions before we start with this last chapter? Give you a second to say something or not. Get in the queue. The famous words of Yediyah 3, 2, 1. All right. Well, this chapter is actually we actually came across the same thing that we're about to read. It took place in Kings. This is going back to what I was saying with yourself when you mentioned when we was talking about the context of things and how I was bringing out everything is connected with Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 1. But going into it, it says, in those days, Hezekiah became deathly ill. And we read about this. Isaiah, son of Amos, the prophet, came to him, and he said to him, thus said, Yah, instruct your household, for you shall die and you shall not live. That sounds like deja vu right now, right? Continue to go down, since we are familiar with it, I'm just going to sum this portion up before he get into the song that he made for the Most High. We know that Hezekiah at this point prayed to the Most High. This is verse 2. Remembering him as to have been walking before him faithfully and wholeheartedly, have done what is good in his eyes. You know, I keep pinpointing that point all the time. What's right in Yah's eyes is most likely not right in people's eyes. And then what is wrong in Yah's eyes is most likely right in people's eyes. And I hope that helps somebody today. I sound like one of the preachers. Hope that helps somebody today. But, you know, what's right in the Most High's eyes is not always right in the world's eyes, and what's wrong in the Most High's eyes is a lot of times right in the world's eyes. So I think it's important, or it's real important that we catch that being said in here and kind of like let that, sink in a little bit. So at this point, he prayed to him, Yeshayahu got word to come back and let him know, hey, you're going to get 15 years added, Now, I remember we had this conversation with Brother Mercy, and, he was like, if it didn't add to it, some of these things probably wouldn't have happened, I believe it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brother Mercy. I don't want to be putting words in your mouth. But, that was another conversation in regards to this. So going down, did you have anything before we get to the song that he...
Yeah. I was going to say exactly. Brother Mercy did just speak of. He spoke about the 15 years that Manasseh came, and he was one of the worst kings that Israel had. And he reigned for 55 years, and he came. He said he came after, this 15-year period. So that's a deep one. Hard right there. I don't know what to say about it. A lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas, but whatever. So, but he felt like he had this request that he could make to the Most High because he had walked uprightly, and he had did, what was right in the Most High eyes. So this was something that was granted to him. It kind of showed me that maybe your time ain't always your time. Most High can revive, or it could be over with, So, and all the 10 degrees and the side of the sundial. This is the sign. This is found in 1 Kings 20. That's what the last thing I was reading was 1 Kings 20. And this is almost word for word. And then that's it before the song. So go ahead, take over,
Shema. All right, Brother Mercy, I don't know if you pressed 1 to get outside of the queue and you came back in. I'm not sure. But I'm going to open your line just in case you pressed it to get back in. And if you didn't, you could just be silent, and then I'll take you off if you don't say anything within 4 seconds. I don't know why I picked the number 4. You're live.
Yeah, I had, when you was counting down, I had hit 1, but you didn't see me, I guess. But I was going to ask you, what do you guys think about people today who say that Moses never existed? Do you think that helps them become hardy and dismiss the scriptures by saying Moses never existed, Abraham never existed? It's a conscious community out here that say that kind of crazy stuff. So, I mean, there seems to be an arrogance going on that's been given birth, and then that's number 1. And number 2, I did say something about Hezekiah. Those 15 years been added, what came out of that. It was that king that came out, that son came out of that. So I just want, that's a little thing. I thought that was kind of interesting by getting them 15 years in addition, because I hear Christians talking about that all the time. How Hezekiah got them additional years, but what nobody ever talks about, by him getting those additional years, some things happen. I mean, it's almost like Donald Trump. If he got some additional years after 8 years, whatever, would things be different? Probably so. But that's all I have to say.
Responding to the first thing that you asked, I would say this, to be like fair, I wouldn't call them crazy for it, because they can call us crazy for believing it, right? But what I will say is, I think a lot of them who go that route or go not to believe is because a lot of people don't even do a combination of things, research and study thoroughly on it, maybe not connected to the Most High the way we we want to be, pressed to be, or should be. Getting involved in the culture, getting involved in language. I love the language. I think it's an important and a vital step to be on when you're doing this as well. Some might disagree. That's cool. I just think that they don't go hard on it. Some might argue me and say, well, how do you know? I'm not saying they don't. I said I just believe that they don't. Because I know a few that have went from the quote unquote truth into Kemet, and then I know their level of study. I know what changed them from being where we're at now and going that direction based off the conversations, the countless conversations we've had, and so it's like I think it's different reasons as to why they don't believe anymore, and they have in their mind valid reasons, and I can't knock that, but I just think it's a lack of fully going in every aspect, like what Hezekiah just said right here. He said, where is it at? He said, I have walked before you faithfully. Faithfully is key, and wholeheartedly. Are they in it wholeheartedly? Are they in it faithfully? Because some people are in it just to be a part of something, and then they're not faithfully in it because they're still being a part of something else in mixture of this. And wholeheartedly, are they wholeheartedly in it and have done what is good in your eyes? Am I focusing on what's good in your eyes versus what's good in the eyes of the people that's teaching me? Because Psalms 24, I believe it is, and I appreciate Sister Hakma for coming, and she came and supported, I believe, on my interview. But I put out the scripture. I think it's Psalms. I go and check when I get off and get down talking. I think it's Psalms 24 or Psalms 25, verses like 4 through 5, when it talks about teach me your ways and your truth. So it says, I have done what is good in your eyes. Okay? So what a lot of people today, they do what is good in their teacher's eyes, what their teachers are teaching them to do. And then what happens after that? When stuff don't line up to where they really will want to know or would like it to be, it falls. Why? Because it's not really happening. It's not really coming from his truth or his eyes. Yeah, my son clapping right now. But it's coming from the truth of the teacher. And you know what I'm saying? So it's so many variables with that. I think it's a whole lot of variables with it. A lot of people hate when I say that, but I believe it's truth. I believe nothing is just black and white. So I think the reason a lot of them end up the way that you saying, Brother Mercy, and I'm done after this, is because they are not, kind of like Hezekiah is saying right here, wholeheartedly in it, faithfully in it, and focus on what is good in the Most High's eyes. And they might not even be aware that they aren't. That's all I got.
I got to do a little different perspective than that. I mean, I'm going to say, not saying this perspective is bad at all. Man, I got a different perspective. There's a lot of people say, they might even go as far as say Israel didn't exist. That would be the most delicious thing that anybody can have to say, because they did come from somewhere. The biggest question that I always ask some of those people is like, okay, well, when did Israel become Israel? Where's that, anything for, some records or something. But those are endless conversations. Those are endless for sure. They say, oh, well, this story's taken from here and this story's taken from here. I mean, I know I've been in there. I've been in groups like that and everything, And you got to get to the point where you say to yourself, all right, we believe that we are part of this culture, that we Israelites and this and the other. And this is what this is their belief. Who cares what someone else is? Egyptology, that's basically saying going over to Mitzrayim or Egypt, like Israelites going over and debating doctrine with them. That's to no avail, because they got a whole different belief system and we ain't even really supposed to be dealing with it. You see, so in our belief system, in our Torah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that we didn't have to. They wasn't going over there to Egypt, talk about some, well, our book say this, our book say that. You know what I'm saying? Because they know that there was somewhat, they was around at that time. So, and, they're big things, that whole Exodus didn't happen from there. You don't find, it's a lot of stuff that your people are going to always have something to say. Atheists are going to have something to say. So a Muslim will have something to say, you know, regardless. So for far as for me, because I've been there, this is where I'm at, you know what I'm saying, with my spiritual belief, with my spiritual aspect of life, and I'm going to, you know, this is what my books say as far as the Tanakh. This is what my ancestors did. This is the culture of it. This is what it was. This is what they believed. I'll say this, and I'm going to leave this alone because this is a little off topic, whatever. This is like the creation story. Creation story. Everybody had a creation story. Everybody had one. You know what I'm saying? Now, one might have sounded like the other, or even this creation story to someone else might sound exactly like somebody else's creation story that was close to that region. But, yet and still, I don't believe what they believe. Not in their culture. That's not the culture that I assimilated to. If I was to assimilate to a culture, like, say, in South Africa or something, and they believe in eating cheese on Thursdays, then I guess I'm eating cheese on Thursdays. I don't care what nobody else has to say about my cheese eating Thursdays. If I made myself, you know what I'm saying, as far as how I feel about, you know, that type of stuff. And I stopped getting in those debates a long time ago because it gets to a point where you're trying to prove whether or not Israel existed and people existed and stuff like that, and that's wasting my time at the end of the day because they still ain't going to believe. They don't care about the book. Now, if you're debating with someone that does believe the book, so now y'all have the same kind of basis and grounds, now you might be spinning your wheels in the right direction, at least maybe, you know what I'm saying, because at least they not denying the very entity, you know what I'm saying, then still, because they would deny the whole entity. They're not just denying Moses, they're denying the whole culture. So it's deeper than that, you know, and I'm not going to get into it, you know, because you start with Moses, but then you get to talking about a whole culture that don't even exist. And I've heard people say that, and that sounds stupid, because there are records of other people, even the Assyrians talking about captivities and Babylonians talking about what they did, you know, some of these records and stuff like that. So, and that's where it started becoming nonsense. So that's my answer for that.
All right, so is there anything else? Because honestly, I really didn't have anything else in the chapter because we're just dealing with the prayer.
You didn't go into the did you go into the song? You didn't go into the song. You didn't have anything for the song or nothing? I just had a couple things highlighted.
No, not really. I feel like the song was kind of like, for my end, self-explanatory.
Yeah, this song, it was, you know, boy, basically, like, it was kind of sad for him, you know what I mean? Am I to go into the gates of hell in the prime of my life? Shall I be deprived the rest of my years? I said, I shall not see Yah. Yah in the land of the living. I shall no longer look on man with the inhabitants of this world. So yeah, he's very much sick about dying, and he still feel like he has not died of old age. That's deep. And then he says a lot of stuff or whatever. I'm not gonna go into all this. But I'm trying to think. So I was in 19. It says the living. He is praising you as I do this day. The Father makes known your truth to his children. All right. It says, Yah come to save me, and let us sing my song with string instruments. All the days are all right. And another form of salvation. Save me from death. And I guess that's as physical as you can get. So this is a couple instances where we see Yah as being a savior. And I mention that because it propels the mindset of some things that Isaiah says. So that's all I had. Other than, you can find this in 2 Kings 20 and If you read that, it gives you the same account. It might not be word for word like this because the song isn't in the first account, but it talks about how Isaiah was walking out and he turns around and he comes back and say he's added 15 more years to your life, and then the solution says, let me take cake figs and apply it to a boil so that he lives. Now I want to say something about that, and y'all can stone me for this later because I might come out wrong. I want to say that a lot of people say, the witchcraft thing. Oh, but witchcraft takes the chicken, cut his head off, put the blood somewhere or whatever. And then that's supposed to protect you. Well, the blood of the lamb protected Israel. Witchcraft would say, do something and put it on your skin instead of just praying for it, such. Well, Isaiah just baked some fig cakes and put it on the boil, and that was the healing. Not to mention other ways that people was healed, where it wasn't just, let me pray for you, and you're good. That was interesting to me. Because I think we get a lot caught up in, because I've actually heard people say, they just credit whole books because of a method that was done that was supposed to steer off something. Now, I don't know about the book. I don't really account for it or haven't read it personally, but we see it in our own book. You know what I'm saying? So it's not too, it would be very biased or hypocritical to act like something being done like that is just so outlandish that you can't even think about it. It means you must not read. But I'm never shown this in the Sunday church when I was growing up. Only thing I'm shown is, for the most part, laying the hands. But even Jesus made a mud cake and put it on somebody's face. I'm just saying. Something I saw that was, I haven't seen nobody do this in no church. So I'll just say that. I ain't got much. I'm not going to keep you long. I guess when we got two people, we can easily do 4 or 5 chapters because they go quick with 2 people on the topics. Just something to think about next time we do it. I'll say that with yada. So what I'll say is, what are your comments and what are your questions? Press 1.
We probably don't have any.
Get in the queue.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You the host. Shamar, I can't hear you.
Go ahead and take over.
All right. Press 1 to get in the queue. If nobody has anything, and we're going to close out. I'm going to give it a couple seconds. 3, 2, 1. All right. I'll do closing statements, I guess, from my, if you can. Then you can do your closing statements as well. No, you got your chap. That supersedes. So, Mercy's in the queue. So, okay, and we have another person. So we're going to let y'all in. Mercy's first. Then I have a random number. So, Mercy, you're live.
Yeah, I wanted to say, though, what do you think about ointments or whatever that are used, I guess, for healing, and it's not just prayer, you know what I mean? Because we do pray, and that's important. But I just wanted to say that, what about ointments and different things that were used and, including the altar and all those things? I mean, I just wanted to say they definitely had a practice of doing something to affect change. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to say it wasn't just a lip service, but it was something they did, by different things. So, I'm assuming. We got different ornaments today, in the stores that we use, lotion and different things of that nature. You can find all kind of ointments, So I still think we use it today without any knowledge. We just don't attribute it to anything biblical, I guess. We just attribute it to science. But I just wanted to say, I think we do it, but it's just, for some reason we just ignore science and medical knowledge. We just ignore all that, become ignorant, and just think that it's because I laid my hands and that's it. That's what called the healing. But yeah, that's all.
Personally, hold on a second. So I took you out to Q, Mercy. If you gotta say anything, you can always press the button. But to answer your question, I feel like there's a lot of natural remedies and stuff that we can do to heal our body. We just don't know them, and we're not really in the elements of what because they knew a lot and they dealt with a lot too. But I don't know if that could have possibly been. Man, you never know. The fig cake could have took away the boil anyway, but he told him he was healed regardless. He told him he was going to put the time back on his life. And the sign was going to be from the sundial going 10 degrees. So we never know with the fig cake thing, you know what I'm saying? Could have been something to soothe the pain or something. It could have been a deeper thing than anybody ever know, but they already know that back then. So it's not to mention it. There was no need to mention something that everybody knows. All I'm saying is everything isn't just without hands on, same way, and everything isn't spookism, because if it was, then we have to admit that in our own book. So it's either I can say to myself, man, that ain't spooky, or that isn't too wild or out of my imagination to think that someone would do something like that, because I believe in this book. And I can see examples of things being done, like say the blood of the lamb on the doorpost. You know what I'm saying? That would be the definition. By if I promise you, if I said to you, yeah, man, go to my grandma's house, and then you go to my grandma's house, and when we get in there, she cut up the dog or something and put the blood on the doorpost and say this is gonna protect us. And the next day, the neighbor died or something. You would say that my grandma did some voodoo. I promise you. That's right. That would be what you probably would say. For me personally, I wouldn't think that way, especially like, well, the Most High told her to do it. That might be more so my thing. But if you was to see it today the same way that we see it, outside of your body, you would think, oh man, that sounds crazy. So. To me, it just doesn't sound crazy. That's what I'm going with. And I'm finna, I don't know if Shemavi has anything to say about that. I'll give you a second to reply. If you don't, I'll open up the mic for the anonymous ones. All right. 3, 2, 1. I know you hook yourself out. I'm going to open up your mic anyway. I just can't, I don't know your number. You'll hear it because there's no number on there. You're live.
Hello?
Yes.
Am I on?
Yes, you're live.
Okay, cool. How's everybody doing today, first and foremost?
Doing
everyone
good.
Okay?
How about yourself? Yeah.
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing real good. My name is David, and I didn't know if my number would have showed up or not, but I did make it private, because it's my first time on the show. But I just want to say this, in regards to today in Israel and everything that's going on. To be fair, I didn't catch the beginning. I just came on and it was posted that you guys were on about maybe an hour ago. So to be fair, I didn't catch everything that was spoken of. I don't even know the topic. I came in where you guys are talking about blood, the blood of the lamb and things of that nature. So forgive me if what I'm about to say is just like totally left field. But I wanted to say this. Dealing with Israel, dealing with the children of the Most High, and with today's evils and wickedness and all these problems that's in the world today, I see a significant amount of people raising up and claiming, not to disrespect anybody, I only say claiming because I don't know the people, but claiming to be Israel. Maybe not Israelites, but the house of Israel, and they're claiming the Tanakh. And I think that's why I came in. Someone mentioned about the Tanakh. So I have a question. With people claiming to be of Israel, and they're claiming their culture is of Israel, and their book, the holy book, is the Tanakh, and things of that nature. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about the Messiah, Yeshua, who I know as Jesus, but I see a significant amount of people shying away from what I know as the Brit Hadashah, the New Covenant scriptures, which was spoken of in the prophet Jeremiah. So I just want to know something. With all the sin that's going on in the world, with Israel being dispersed among the different nations, with the people who are in Israel, in the land of Israel, what they call Israel at this point, with all these confusing things happening, at the end of the day, when we have broken homes, poverty, diseases, unwed pregnancies, abortion rates, black-on-black crime and murders, police brutality, all these things that we can argue stems from sin inside the heart when it comes down to man hurting man. What is the solution apart from the New Covenant scriptures if you don't adhere to that? What is the solution that you give people, a tangible solution that destroys or crushes, like how it was prophesied in Bereshit, Genesis, about the head being crushed, the darkness, the forces of darkness, the dominion that's over man being crushed. What solution do you give, just as Israel, that could change man's heart?
That was a good question. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take you out to you, but if you want to say something else, press 1 inward after I give my response. That's fine.
Okay.
I don't want to restrict you at all, but you press 1 to get out. Yeah, you press 1 to get out, but then if I say something and you want to press 1 again, I'll put you back in. That's the way, you know what I mean, because it's your first time being on. And we always open the mic. So, all right, I took you out to what's call it, and it don't look like it got you in the queue. So if you if you hear something, you press 1. So first off, let me because you came in the last minute of it. What we do and what we've been doing for the last couple of years, as we've been going from Genesis, and we're going from Genesis to Revelation. We pick out however many we feel like we can handle in a couple of hour span, and we just go contextually through the scriptures to see what it say. All right, I'm going to answer your question regardless because you're the first time on the show. I guess I do this consideration, you know what I'm saying, as far as like that, because you don't know, how we feel, and this would be like, I guess, a rest show topic. We do rest shows and stuff like that, so I'm going to answer your question, not get too deep. Try not to get too deep because this would be something that we could talk about on our rest shows. This was something that y'all will be very prevalent to talk about. And we do it every fourth show. We do just free talk, like talk about certain different things, whatever people want to talk about. We might take a poll or whatever. So that's just a little background about us. There's 3 of us. One of us couldn't make it, and we just go through these scriptures and we see what it say. I've hit we call it the reset button because I've hit my reset button on a lot of stuff that I once believed. So, And as far as what I mean by that is just like preconceived notions, things I was taught like this, growing up in church, things that, some things like that, that just didn't hold truth when I actually read it for myself. But now you say, well, what is the solution? This is probably one of the things we talked about and all. But this is somewhat of a joke, but I'm not joking when I say I was taking my class at Yale. Some of the inside people would probably be laughing every time I say it. But this Professor Bloom, he was telling about a story about young boys. They click up and they when they were separated, they got their own cultures. And as they got their own cultures, they began to have rules for this culture. You know what I'm saying? It's a true experiment. And one was the snakes and one was the eagles. Wasn't like a big imagination thing. And the eagles was the ones that was clean and they didn't curse. And they prided themselves on acting older and being different. And the rattlers, I guess they would be what you would expect from someone that called themselves snakes. They were curses and they was bad and they hated the eagles because they were so clean. So they fought and they fought and they fought and they fought. So they tried to get them back together, so they brought in a pastor. The pastor said, brotherly love. And they took that, went back to their corners and said, yep. The eagle said, yes, it's brotherly love. I love my brother eagle. And the snake said, I love my brother rattlers. So that didn't work. It took they fabricated a problem and said that someone on the outside is actually going to attack them. And then they began to click up because of the fact that they had someone on the outside that was attacking them. All right, I tell that story because that's psychology. So in the psychology course at Yale. All right, and they was doing an experiment to try to find out the behaviors of people of what they do. This is just one instance. They test things like this. All right. As I see, when he was telling the story, I kind of thought of Israel, separating themselves, this, that, and the other. But then even inside of Israel, we separate ourselves. We have been separating ourselves between denominations. We've been separating ourselves between different camps and different things. And we talk about the other people that's not part of our your deals, whatever we believe, whether or not it's IOG, you know what I'm saying? We don't really deal with some of the other people. Like, I don't deal with this camp. I don't deal with this such and such. All right? And with division, we won't go nowhere. So a lot of people don't even realize where we at and what is going on to us. And it's like they're not even aware. That's probably why some people aren't even clicking up to each other, not even aware of the oppression that we're really in. But for some of the ones that are aware, we're still fighting amongst each other, which is amazing to me because history repeats itself. In 70 or 69, when the Rome was going up against Israel, the reason why we lost is because we fought each other while Rome was fighting us. So the characteristic doesn't really fall that far. Anyway, my solution would be we need to get more together and we need to figure some things out because I'm not about sitting on my thumbs and waiting for change. What I feel personally is that we have to start sometimes, hey, look, we can get this doctrine together. You dig what I'm saying? So we can get it together if we are willing to be humble enough to just start listening to each other and start going through this thing. And that's what we've been trying to do, for the last 2 years. Just go through this thing and just be honest with ourselves. That's one thing. But then also, sometimes we got to put aside these differences because yet and still, it doesn't make you less educated. It doesn't make you less of a father or a mother or a child or anything because of your beliefs. And we're still in the same oppression. It's going to take a while to get what the culture really was trying to say. This is not an overnight thing, and all the debates and arguments, they ain't going nowhere. But yet and still, we got to start resourcing together, dealing with each other, in a civilized manner to where we can come up as a nation of Israel. Anybody else on the outside that don't want to be a part of it, that's fine. But the ones that they call themselves a nation, to me, you're not a nation divided. A nation divided is not a nation at all. To me. You scattered people. And that's all I see. When I look out, I see scattered people. And everybody running around and, you right, you wrong, and pointing fingers and all that. And I'm like, we still ain't getting nowhere. Now we done evolved to another level of social media that makes us even worse than if we didn't have none of that. And see, this is what I'm saying, and I'm done. And then, Brother Mercy, I see you in the queue, so I'm going to let you in.
I want to speak before you let
see, we so integrated. Okay, all right. I'm just going to say this last thing. But we so integrated, you know what I'm saying, we thought we was integrated. That's the bad part about it. It's like, for some people, it's like, nah, they really ain't accept us. And then for some people, you'll see them on the news, they crying. It's like, you know what I'm saying, African-American, black, whatever you want to call them, Israelites, whatever, you know, they're crying because they can't understand how America or how these people could treat us so bad and how they could talk so bad about us and how our president could send us. They really don't understand it. For some of us that understood it, they'll be like, you was never there for us in the first place. You know, we like, well, you know, we need to do something about within each other because this is my mindset. We need to get within each other. You might make clothes. You might be good at this. You might be good at that. And we need to start building with each other and then start working out some of these kinks. And just realize that we've been lied to for years. So that just because something is wrong doesn't mean anything. It means I'm glad I found it out. Or just because I made a mistake, me personally, I'm talking about me. Just because I made a mistake on something, it's not the end of the world. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. I can still breathe. Thank God I got breath with the mistake over with, because now I know it's a mistake. Okay? But I'm not going to hold on to a mistake. I'm not going to hold on to not moving. I'm not going to hold on to just to sit stagnant, you know what I'm saying, waiting on anything. I'm not waiting on anything. I'm trying to get my children and my children's children prepared for whatever comes down the pipe. And hopefully, if I can't see it in my generation, then hopefully I could be real old and possibly see some great-grandchildren possibly get this down to a science or something. But the ball has to start rolling, and it has to be more active than passive. And then with that, I'll let Shema take over because he is the host. And Brother Mercy, we see you in the queue. So just hold on, and we'll get to it.
All right. Appreciate that. I'm going to respond to the brother. I'm going to try to keep it brief, but I want to say a couple of things before I go right into it. One thing I want to say is, as he stated, for the last couple of years, we've been going through the scripture contextually, looking at its consistency and looking at the culture aspect. Why do I say that? You brought in the Brit Kadashah, the New Testament. I think the solution, to answer it right now, the solution is the Word of God, period. Point blank, period. That's a solution. The solution is the Torah. A lot of people of modern Christianity, my father's a pastor, stepfather's a minister, are kind of afraid of that. I ain't going to say afraid, but kind of like shy away from when that word is being said. And I think it's due to not understanding the word in total as well. What do I mean by that? Everything I ain't gonna say everything, but a lot of what Yeshua said, I'm gonna use him because that's what you brought out, or Jesus. You can actually find in the Torah, in the Deuteronomy, majority, a lot of stuff that is being said in the New Testament. You can find in the Old. Why? Because their scripture was the Old Testament. That's facts. That's historical. I think a lot of times for helping the community portion is because they don't understand the Word of God. They don't understand the heart of it, the spirit of it. A lot of the things that was revealed from a spiritual standpoint, New Testament wise, I can pull out every one of them in the Old Testament. We brought that through the show as well. I just wanted to put that out there, and that's because going through it contextually. You know what I'm saying? But the community aspect, I think the reason that a lot of the children are the way they are, the people are the way they are, is because, like we just read in 39, Isaiah 39, I think it was, right? No, 37. I'm going to go to it because I'm going to try to bring it right back to what we're reading, so we won't go too far off. And I was just explaining it. He said, Hezekiah said, please, remember now that I have always walked before you faithfully, wholeheartedly, and have done what is good in your eyes. And I don't know if you came on when I said that already. Matter of fact, I'm going to open yours because I don't want you to be, silent while I'm saying. I want you to interact with me, if you have anything to say. And Mercy, we do see you in, but I want to bring him in like we do with you. I want him to be able to speak. And just like when we speak, and just let's, pay respect to one another, because it's a point on while I'm reading this too. So I'm opening your mic right now, brother. I thought I was. There we go. Are you there?
I'm here. I'm
okay.
here. Thank you.
Cool. I just wanted to. I think that I don't know if you were you present when I was speaking on the what Hezekiah said about I walk before you faithfully and wholeheartedly, and I have done what is good in your eyes. Did you hear that part?
I think I did.
Okay.
Yeah,
if
I think
did,
I
the
did.
The reason I brought that out, and it kind of goes into your question, or my answer to your question, because and I forgot the verse. I'll find it when I'm done speaking. Psalms 24, I believe it is, or 25, verse 4 through 8, one of those two. He spoke on saying, teach me your truth, your ways, right? And I think that's real important, because just like I had said, that the Most High said that he'll say a lot of times that he did everything right in my eyes. Well, why did he say that? Because what's right in his eyes, the world might not think is right. Or you did wrong in my eyes. Well, what's wrong in his eyes, the world might think is right. So I think that a lot of what's dealing with the youth and the things that you was asking is dealing with the teaching. A lot of the teaching as well is bringing people away from a foundation that the Most High has set. The foundation that even the New Testament speaks on sometimes, as far as with what they're bringing. A lot of you would have to been here. Like you said, you came in late at this point, but I said something during the interview the other day. I was like, somebody brought up our show, and I was like, I wish a lot of people could have been through the beginning, because it's hard to bring out a certain point without going into the detail of how we got to this point. Why do we believe this is the case? Because what we try to stay away from is, like he mentioned, preconceived teachings and thoughts of what has been handed down completely. We want to make sure everything lines up scripturally. And I think that a lot of people do that or try to do that, but the problem that I had mentioned with trying is, and I'm only speaking off of what I know or what I've realized, because like I said, I'm father as a pastor, step as a minister, is who taught us or who taught them. Where did that teaching stem from? Okay, and then when they start teaching others and they feel they get a newfound understanding and knowledge of the word, I believe that it's still predicated off of the initial teaching that they got. So the purpose of this show, and I'm going to end it after this, I hope I don't want to, rant, is to allow the scriptures, the culture of it, the literature, those who wrote it, to let it teach us. Let the Most High work and teach us. This is why we have multiple people like yourself calling in, or Mercy, because a few of us have different beliefs on here. So you might have somebody that believes that, okay, Jesus is God. Then you might have somebody that believes that people are in heaven. Or you might have people that believe that Yeshua or Jesus is definitely a prophet. Or, it's different beliefs on here. We don't argue that. You won't ever hear us arguing that case. But what we're doing is, at the very point that where we're at, we're making sure that contextually we're in agreement through the scriptures. We're at the point that we're at. We're allowing it to teach us. And a lot of us have pressed what we call the reset button of okay, well, you know what? This this has been inconsistent according to this. So I'm pressing my reset button. So that's what it's about. So I'm going to shut up. You know, if you have anything further, you know,
well, I have
we could
a
go
question.
from now, then allow Mercy to come in. Okay.
The reason I asked, and I'm just, okay, let me do this first. I want to get clarity so I can make sure I understand what the brother who came prior to you, what he said in response to my question as far as what the solution is. If I'm not mistaken, he was saying that the solution, or at least part of what could bring about a solution, is for us to gather on one accord, study the scriptures in context. Am I correct? Did I misunderstand him, or?
I had to unmute myself, my bad. You know, and I had to unmute myself. Yes, you are correct. In part, like you said, in part. Yes.
Okay, now, with that being said, I just want to make sure that I understood. And my agenda, let me put this out first. My agenda and intention here is to just present what I've been given from revelation from the Most High in hope to put this on the table so many men can be helped out as well. So it's not me coming against you people or, you know, trying to be superior. I don't want to come off like that. I come humbly as a person who also see and hear about the plight of not just Black America, quote unquote, but people in general. So I just want to lay that out first. With that being said, I see here in Deuteronomy chapter 12, okay? Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 28. It talks about obeying and paying attention to everything the Most High is ordering His people to do so that things will go well with them and their descendants after them forever as they see what the Lord sees as good and right. Now, that's dependent upon something. All the verses before, and I'm going to say this to present a friendly little challenge to make us think and grow as well. But all of that, what was just said in 28, is dependent upon verses 1 through 27. And within those verses, it talks about a system, which I believe you guys already know about, a sacrificial system. So when I started off, I said about people, you know, claiming to be Israel, and the Tanakh, which includes the Torah, is part of their book now. And if that's the case, when it comes down to what we need to help people, if we cling to the Tanakh, all right, and we cling to the Torah and the prophets and the writing, if we cling to these things, and if we adopt a system that was already in place prior to our birth, prior to our grandparents' birth, their grandparents' birth, if we adopt this, my thing would be, one, we either, you know, follow in line and understand what the Brit Hadashah is about, which the fella who was just speaking about, he was speaking about the New Testament, where we translate the New Testament in Jesus. He said he was a minister, and I think your father's a pastor, if I'm not mistaken. If we, and I don't want to claim you guys, you know, discard it, but like I said, some people do. So my thing is, if that's your camp, which I don't know, but if that's your camp, I'm just giving a hypothetical, I guess. If we discard the New Covenant scriptures and we jump to Israel, because if you guys are African Americans, quote unquote, then 9 out of 10 you don't know who your ancestors were. 9 out of 10, as far as like how other people, maybe Europeans or quote unquote Native Americans, they got records and stuff like that. Transatlantic slavery, obviously we all know through ourselves. So if we jump to being Israel, you know, which is another something, a side issue for me. But if we jump to that and we now adopt, like, okay, we're going to read the scriptures and come together in one accord, and this will possibly if not bring a solution, will be at least moving in the right direction, which I don't disagree with. But we have to also, from what I'm taught, and people can correct me if I'm misunderstanding, but a system was already in place, a whole sacrificial system. So it's kind of hard to discard that part. When I just read Deuteronomy 12:28, where it says, all things, well, not all, but things will go well with you and with your descendants after you forever. But that's based upon obeying and paying attention to everything the Lord, the Most High, was ordering. That order included sacrifices. So now the dilemma that is seemingly apparent out there or existent is how, well, just going back to the Tanakh and even on one accord, let's say all of us on one accord, and let's say we're reading it in context, we're contextualizing like nobody business. We got the science down to the T when it comes down to reading it. We got all that perfect going on. How could that still help if the scriptures is giving or prescribing the help, but based upon the sacrificial system? Now, and I'm going to end with this. Now, for me, it shows how much needed is the new covenant, which was prophesied about. Because if we jump to being Israel, and I can't say you guys will have proof of being Israel. Maybe you do. Some people I've seen, they didn't have any. But if we jump to being Israel now, at what point do we just discard, or how can we just start the whole sacrificial system that the Most High has established and founded, so that the people, they have to obey and do that for their sins, dealing with the Kohanim, the priests, dealing with the high priest, dealing with the sacrifices? How do we discard that and jump in the Torah or the Tanakh and say we just have to read it, contextualize it, be on one accord, and that will solve the problems if we're going to discard the New Covenant scriptures? Because that's the dilemma that I see.
Well, let me respond.
Hold on,
real quick. I'm going to keep mine real short. Okay,
go ahead.
Really short. It's actually a question, but it's a rhetorical question. The question is, one thing I want to say is, I would like I said, I wish she was present. I wish she was present before all this to really get an under grasp on who we are. But I will ask, did Noah, Abraham, or more so Noah, anybody before him, did they have these sacrificial laws in place before Deuteronomy? That would be my question. Another question would be, did he desire it more so? Was he trying to teach us something deeper? And this is what the New Testament brings out, which is already present in the Old Testament. All the remnant, those that were really for the Most High, that really obeyed him within their heart. That's why he said wholeheartedly, Hezekiah spoken wholeheartedly. They understood something. They understood what kind of I think you're trying to bring out, actually. And that's all I wanted to say. I wanted to say those predating that Deuteronomy 12, what happened then? Did they use that, was it forced on them to do, before prior to Noah?
Man, look.
Without that,
I'm going to read some scriptures, and I'm not going to read a bunch of them. I'm just going to go to the same scripture you read. I'm just going to start at number 1. This might answer some questions.
So you in Deuteronomy?
These are the laws. Yep. These are the laws and right rulings which you guard to do in the land which Yah Elohim of your fathers is giving you to possess all the days that you live on the soil. We have a big problem. We're not in that land, not living on that soil. So it's actually, to me, I can't do one sacrifice over here. This is not the land where he put his name to get on there. So now I'm gonna go back to Isaiah, because that's where we was at. I just want to read that one. I'm so glad you brought that up though, because I almost forgot about Deuteronomy. I love Deuteronomy. Like, it's one of my favorites. You know what I'm saying? My name is Joseph.
It's a good book.
Yeah, well, it's great. But, you know, I was Oreg Dean forever. So Yosef Ha Oreg Dean would be, that's my Facebook name, okay, if you want to. But it's the lawyer, so I focus a lot on Deuteronomy and stuff like that. So that's one thing. And then Isaiah said it best not Isaiah, but the Most High said it best. Out of the mouth of Isaiah in 1:15. This is where we're at. What I mean by this, he said it best. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So actually, I'm going to give context of Isaiah 1. So he's talking about the things that they've done. Isaiah's proclaiming some things, talking about how bad Israel is and the things that are going to happen. All right. The Most High says that he don't like their offerings and none of that extra stuff because their hands are filled with blood. Not they don't like the offerings like that, but their hands are filled with blood. They're doing wrong. Forget them offerings. You're doing wrong. The offerings mean nothing to me. So then he says, I'm going to go to 16, actually. It says, wash yourselves. Make yourselves clean. Put away the evil of your doings from before my eyes. Stop doing evil. Learn to do good. Seek right rulings. Reprove the oppressor. Defend the fatherless. Plead for the widow. Come now, let us reason together, says Yah. So your sins are like scarlet, they'll be white as snow. Though they red like crimson, they'll be as wool. If you submit and obey, you shall eat the good of the land. If you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured by the sword. The mouth of Yah has spoken. Right? So, essentially, we have to realize one thing is we cannot do any sacrifices without a Levitical priest or anything like that. So, even if, I would have to get on a one-on-one level, you know what I'm saying? But even if someone was to make a claim like you have to do sacrifices in this land, I would probably tell that I wouldn't tell nobody to do sacrifices because that's telling you to sin. He took away the system, and I'm just
do sacrifices
in this land. In this land, if you do sacrifices,
in America,
you're not a Levitical priest. Doing it according to the things, and actually according to the things that have to be in that land. So unless you feel like America is that land, that's a whole other story. We're not going to go there right now. But then we're talking, and unless you know that you're a Levitical priest or something like that, that's a whole different story, But according to, outside of those things, which would have been astronomical things to say, outside of those things, the normal person probably couldn't make those claims, and that means that they can't do such things. That's one. And then I said the character of the Most High is, as you see in Isaiah right there, he says, look, all that extra stuff that y'all doing, I don't care nothing about that. Your new moons, your festivals, that happens in, I think, 14 and 15. He talks about your new moons, your festivals. He said, I don't even like them. Even when you lift your hands in prayers, I don't hear them because y'all do them wrong. Okay? So according to doing what he said was right, you know what I'm saying, according to what I feel is what we can do, according to being in captivity, but whatever. And him making the notion of, I just want you to do right, and I will wash your sins white like snow. That's all I could tell somebody from Genesis to Isaiah. Now, like I say, I've hit the reset button. And when I say that, from what I've seen, this is what I've seen. And I'm not going to go too far. I do know some verses that can be thrown around in the, preceding this, but I'm trying to keep it so in context, you know what I'm saying, that I don't want to even mislead someone in my profession and maybe how they feel like I perceive. So as of right now, like I tell people, yeah, I know some verses hard to reset that type of memory. I reset a lot of thinking. And at first I was resetting stuff here and there. Then I hit the master reset and started to build. So now my building portion, I see the character of the Most High. As of right now, I see what he say, and I see what he care about. Now, if somebody tells me he care about something else later on, I'll get there, and that's fine. But as of right now, and even in the verse that you've shown and any of the proceedings, as far as sacrifices, we have a big problem talking about doing them anywhere but the land. You know what I'm saying? Now, getting back there, we go back there, and he said he want to do some sacrifice again. He gonna send that prophet down there to speak with the fire and all that extra stuff. Hey, we in business, okay? But this conversation can go so much deeper in the aspects of that. Go ahead.
Your your line of reasoning is based as far as when I say your line of reasoning, dealing with the sacrificial system. Your line of reasoning is that sacrifices, and I'm not talking about Isaiah right now, I'm just on Deuteronomy, but your line of reasoning for the ruling of the sacrificial system, you're saying that it's not a requirement for Israel because they're not in a particular region of the earth. Am I getting you right? You're saying that the sacrificial system isn't needed.
I couldn't really say that without the Bible saying it. So, real talk,
okay.
Like the Most High say, in the land where I put my name. He said, do sacrifices in the land that I put my name. I didn't say that.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
No, I was just just trying to understand your line of reasoning. But
right.
What in the Torah? What part of the Torah that you guys keep? Could you give me a chapter in the book? What part of the Torah you guys feel that we should keep that will help the people? Like, which part should we observe and obey that would help the people in the Torah?
You know,
loving your neighbor.
The people,
love
your neighbor, right?
Love.
Doing right by the people that's right next to you. The replacement of goods. If you do something, don't steal from your neighbor. Don't commit adultery to your neighbor.
I'm asking what book. I'm asking what book and chapter.
It's all over the place. I mean, they're spread through the books. I can't tell you this book that I do this whole book because I can't do the whole book. The Levitical priest is all up and down the Deuteronomy, the Deuteronomy books. They're all up and down. And then, to be honest with you,
let me ask something.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just got to ask a question because I don't want this to go too long. We got two other people in the queue. And I would keep the brother on because I'm pretty sure I'm not sure if they want to ask a question or want to say something. So I'm cool with everybody.
I understand, bro.
It's a good conversation and everything. But what I want to say is this, because the reason why I want to say what I'm about to say is because this conversation could go so long in so many different directions. Because I feel that you're probably just trying to get an understanding of where we're at, and what I think yourself is trying to bring out, and myself is we can't give you just a black and white answer like that because there's so many variables. But to answer your question, totally, period, is love. That is what we are all lacking at. If we can move the Bible to the side and love against our own people, if we have had love for each other, honestly, we can overcome a lot. What do I mean by that? Black Wall Street. That's the one time in American history we're dealing with black people, but we showed love with each other and we was able to thrive, love, circulate money amongst each other, had a system, a system in place for us to thrive, like the Torah. A Torah is a system for the nation to thrive. Yeshua knew that. People in the New Testament, they knew that because they still went by it. But to answer your question in totality, it's love, and I could bring that out. Even what he just read in Isaiah, chapter 1. He just told you how to treat the widows and things like that. That was love. They didn't exercise that. Only a remnant did. A remnant in the Old Testament exercised it, and a remnant in the New Testament only exercised it. We always got that big bulk of people that don't. So I'm going to shut up real quick. I want to bring Sister Hakmaz in, and I want to bring Mercy. And Mercy been sitting for a long time, and Sister Hakmaz. But you can stay on. Let me bring them in. Yourself, I apologize.
I think I'm just going to say, I'm just thinking that Shemai wrapped it up basically saying, I can't just, you're asking for something direct, and it's like deeper than that. It's like everybody, sometimes you're not the first person that did it. Like people come on, they like trying to get a grasp, get a feel of what's really going on. And that's why he said he wished he was with us from the beginning, because then you would get a grasp. So if you just stick with us, you'll get a grasp. You know what I'm saying? Because we ain't doing nothing but going through the scriptures. So it shouldn't be nothing wrong with that. It just set up our time that you set and you read with some other brothers and sisters, and every week you discuss what we was reading. No agenda, no futuristic, no talking about, no bashing, because everybody on here probably believes something different. You know what I'm saying? So I'm giving you my perspective. That ain't everybody's perspective that's on this line, but everybody on this line, they have their agenda is to go through this book with good brothers and sisters and learn this thing as what the book says. So we invite you to be a part of that also. You know what I'm saying? And then we can have this discussion. We can have this discussion on a rest show. That's when we really
on the rest show.
When is
that's when we really
show that you guys talking about?
It would be I think in 2 weeks because we did 2 weeks. Boom.
Every fourth.
2 weeks. Next week
Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Right. Next week we're going through some more scriptures, and then the week after that it's a rest show.
Okay.
And we can have it.
Scripture rest.
Right. What we can do is we can actually have, everybody that's on right now, what we can do is we can have certain topics, and we could touch, you know what I'm saying, on those topics together. Some of these questions you ask, or comments, or concerns you're talking about, we could, you know what I'm saying, so we can make it flow a little better, and, but let me bring them in. Don't go nowhere. I don't know, because sometimes they like to ask the person that called in questions or whatnot. And everybody is, good-spirited and everything like that, too. So, Sister Chakma, I'm going to bring her in first. Brother Mercy, I know you've been there, too. Y'all both been there for a minute. So I want to bring her in first, and then I'm going to bring you in. Thank you for being patient, Mercy. And Sister Chakma, hold on one second. Let me bring you in. You're live.
Hi. I'm going to have a question for David. He said something that, my ears just perked up. I love to hear people say what the Father then gave them. So you said the Father gave you a revelation, so I wanted to know what was it, because you didn't share it.
Well, dealing with revelation that the Father gave me, specifically pertaining to solution, is what I was referring to. And that's a good question, and thank you for asking. Basically, there's a scripture in Ezekiel 36. Ezekiel chapter 36, verses 22 through 22 through 32. And it's basically talking about a solution, from what I see and understand it to be a solution to the issues that I mentioned earlier, like the plight of quote-unquote Black America and America, period. The troubles, the sin, the abortion rate, all these things that, the Father isn't pleased with happening, but it's dealing with how the Most High gives us a new heart. And I was wanting to aim at and go down the line that, the problems, from what I understand, stems from the heart issue. A lot of the problems deals with the heart issue. And when the good brother mentioned about love, he summarized everything. Like, one of the thoughts that ran across my mind is like that word love can be subjective. In and of itself is subjective, because someone mentioned earlier what the Father feels is good, the world might feel is bad. The same thing with love. So
Amen.
I just feel like it has to be more. So the reason I brought up the sacrificial system also is because, dealing with the sin issue, and these people were sacrificing and things of that nature, and it depended upon the land. What Joseph, I think it was Joseph who said. So then I mentioned, what part of Torah are we supposed to observe? Because from my understanding, it was always about the land. So we take that one part and say, no sacrificial system because of land, and what else rulings do we throw out? So the revelation I was just speaking of is the solution from what I've seen in my own life. Because a little about me is I'm from the South. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. I'm sure you guys heard of the church shooting, the cop who got convicted, who shot dude in the back when he was running. All that took place in areas that I'm like maybe 10 minutes away from at most. So dealing with the revelation is some, to be shorter rather, just basically the Most High saving me and giving me His Ruach HaKodesh, His Holy Spirit, that enabled my heart to be changed and to have genuine love for people. I used to womanize. I used to be a player back in the day. Now I'm married. I'm not out there trying to do all kind of things against women. I got a child now. He completely changed my life. So I just know of no other solution than the actual presence of the Most High, which is the essence in embodiment of love, forgiveness, peace, everything that the community can benefit from. So that was the revelation I was talking about in short.
Okay, so
that's
nothing,
powerful.
so it's nothing new. I really thought it was something new, so I was expecting something.
It's only new in the sense of the new covenant. It's given through the new covenant as spoken of through Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah. That new covenant brings about the Spirit of God, and I could expound on that if maybe another time or stuff like that. But it's a connection, which through Yeshua. He mentioned about bringing a new covenant, so that's what I was talking about. So,
wait a minute, hold on. You just read to me in Ezekiel with the new heart, which is a new mind, a new mindset.
New heart,
but
new
you're
spirit.
saying that in the new covenant is part of the new covenant. But in Ezekiel, it's right there in Ezekiel, so it has nothing to do with Yeshayahu.
Well, it has no. I didn't mention Isaiah. I mentioned New Covenant, Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah. That's the revelation.
Okay.
That's why I said it's the revelation. Now apart from me coming to that understanding and revelation from the Most High, it probably would have been in pieces. I think, sort of like how you're saying, okay, well, why are you mentioning Ezekiel, but then you're talking about New Covenant that wasn't mentioning Ezekiel? It's almost like it's scattered until the revelation comes. It's just like some of the people who call themselves rabbis, they were arguing, okay, the Mashiach, is he coming twice? Or is it going to be two different Messiahs? They didn't understand. These things are concealed, but it's revealed in the person of the Messiah that I follow.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep you on, Sister Huckman. I'm gonna bring
I want you to to mess with us because you know what I'm saying. I just want to say, I would like to, for you to continue to call in. We say and see what we're about.
Please.
Because and then like I'm saying, the rest shows because then would be the perfect time. Expound and stuff like that.
Okay, I appreciate the invitation.
Just in retrospect of what you're saying, I mean, that would probably be what. See, that's why if you knew, we talk about the land on this show, we see the significance of the land. We see the significance of, the Most High being with them and His presence and all this stuff. We see that already. So that's what I'm saying. If you knew, you'll understand. Okay, you saying some of the stuff that we say already from what you can see. That's why I say keep sticking with us, and you'll see a full picture.
Right. Okay, no doubt.
Yeah, I want to end with saying real quick. I think what Sister Huckma was saying too. This is why I had this conversation, brother. I promise you. It's so amazing. Mercy, I'm bringing you in. I got you, Mercy. It's so amazing because I lie to you not. I understand the terminology of New Covenant, but it was there. It was here already.
In the beginning, that's why.
If you was, I got countless. When I say countless, and this is when we was going through consistency and contextually, we were seeing all of these attributes, I guess you could say, or all of these fruits, I guess you could say, being demonstrated already. So I think this, and I'm done after this. I think this, and I'm done after this. And I'm bringing Mercy in. And I'm going to try to talk real fast, real fast. I think a lot of times when the people of the Most High, say you're a person of the Most High, He's using you. You know what I'm saying, to do what you're presenting to us right now. You probably do this often to others. what I think is people that know like you know, right? But then when you come into a fold of people that might not, it's new to them. So it seems like it's something brand new, but it's not. You're speaking directly to a people, kind of like in Matthew 4:4 and Luke 4:4, I believe it is, or the whole chapter when they came at Yeshayahu, and they was like, told them to have them wash their hands and all this stuff. He said, "You hypocrites, worship me with your lips, your hearts apart from me," which he was quoting from Isaiah. He wasn't. I asked somebody, is he talking to everybody at this point, or is he talking to just these people here? Some people say these people here.
Right.
Some people say everybody. And I showed them, no, he's talking to these people. Just like when Paul said, no one is righteous, not even one. But then when you go down, you see who he's talking about. He's quoted from Psalms. And then you see in that Psalms, the Most High said that the fool says in their heart there's no God. And you go down, he has a distinction of two different people. So it's like, the reason me bringing that out is that's what I mean by context. Cultural understanding literature, what they were speaking of. I think that it has always been these type of people here, all in the Old Testament, understood the heart. David was one of them, big time, and we brought a lot of stuff out, and that's what I think what me and Yosef is saying, and it gets to me so much, my brother. I lie to you not because I be like, man, I wish, because like right now in Isaiah, we stand contextually. We're staying in context right now. So whatever we reading is what we're talking about. And I think like a last thing I'm going to say, I know I said that already, but I promise this time. A sister came on just like you a while back, and she came just on like you a while back, and she only commented on what she was hearing from us at that particular point and couldn't understand our full understanding because she wasn't here prior. It's like you came in the middle of a book. You don't know what happened at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So
I came at the end of the book.
Yeah. Oh man. So that's what we're saying. It's like the stuff you speaking on with the love, that the revelation, there was a revelation for you at that particular point, just like a lot of stuff was a revelation to a lot of people God dealt with at that particular point, but there's nothing new under the sun, like Ecclesiastes says. This stuff has been here. All these things was already in place, but it was just written down to go down for other people to understand. So but I'm going to shut up. Mercy, I bring you in, and we're going to have a particular, I'm saying it right now, I want a particular rest show, I don't care what order we put this in, to where we can actually go down and show the people the love that Yeshua was talking about. I'll give you a new commandment, that you love your brother like you love yourself. When I could show you that David already did that with Jonathan. And it's not saying that he was right. Yeshua was right what he said, but he was taking the principles that was already in the Tanakh, because that was their scripture, that was their study. So I want a rest show to where we can show the people from Genesis all the way to where we at right now, the love that the New Testament talks about for you to have for your brother and sister, showing you that the people, the historical people of the New Testament already was building off of what was in place for us. And that's it. Mercy, I'm bringing you in. Let me press this button. My brother, stay on. Sister Hakma, stay on.
I'm here.
Yourself, you already know. Brother Mercy, you live.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is we got real practical problems in our community, and my brother, you're asking for a solution to a practical problem. I know you probably heard the name of Nat Turner.
I've heard of Nat Turner before.
At church service, huh?
I did hear of Nat Turner before.
Okay, but let me finish. You heard about Nat Turner, and Nat Turner was a Christian preacher while we were slaves. Okay, and what he quoted all the scriptures that the slave master loved to hear, like they all under your new covenant, quote unquote. You know, Ephesians 6:5, slaves obey your earthly masters. Colossians 3:22. Nat Turner loved to quote those scriptures with the slave master. You know, you for slaves obey your earthly masters in everything, brother. So, they had church service in South Carolina, you know. Pretty sure you know that. During the Civil War, one of the key points that they hit, the first key points that they hit was in South Carolina where they still do skits about the Civil War in Charleston, South Carolina. Pretty sure you know about that too, sir. Your hometown. Still rich in the Civil War tradition. But what I wanted to say, my brother, is that what you got to understand is just simply having the New Covenant or the Bible is not enough, because we had that and we still was picking cotton. My point is this. Do you understand what the scriptures is saying? Because the slave master teaching your Bible study is worse than anything else. So you heard a name like Harriet Tubman. What did she do? She ran away. She ran away. And that's the reason why, brother, you can get married today. Because, brother, if you marriage was illegal. Okay? So I just wanted to say, brother, that the issues you're talking about is not going to be handled and answered just by kumbaya. No, brother. You're going to have to look at the Torah, and you might have to fight sometimes. You might have to, like Nat Turner. What did Nat Turner do? He killed a whole lot of white folk. That's why a lot of white folk don't like him to this day. He had to kill some people. You know what the Civil War was? They killed some slave masters, okay? So let's not just skip over that part of history. That part of history is a very important part of history.
Well, that's assuming, brother. That's assuming. You're
that's assuming?
Yeah,
no,
you're
assuming. No, brother.
Let him finish the statement. Let him finish the statement.
Finish.
He ain't say what he was saying. That's why assuming.
Facts. These are all historical facts. And just like we read about Isaiah today, wars going with Assyria and Israel. You know, wars going on. What we read, these chapters we read, it's wars between these nations. Just like we had a war within this nation. But what I'm trying to tell you, brother, if you're looking for an answer to diseases, because you name these problems, diseases, you name police brutality, you name all these issues. And if you think all these issues got just one simple answer, just read the New Testament, it's a lot deeper than that, brother. And what I'm saying to you is that sometimes what you got to do is you got to do like our ancestors. They ran away, like Moses. He ran away from Egypt. He went away from Egypt to a free land. So that's what the children of Israel did. They left Egypt, the slave bondage land, and they went to their own land. See, sometimes you got to take a voyage. You got to get away from South Carolina. Because, see, South Carolina used to be a place of bondage. But because of what our ancestors did, you're able to enjoy freedoms, brother. You're able to have certain civil rights. So I just wanted to say that, but that just didn't happen by just picking up a book and reading. They had to run away first. They had to, there was a process to this. And I think sometimes we forget about the process. But do I think you got some hope? Brother, I definitely believe we got hope. We got a lot of hope. But all I'm saying to you is that what Yahshua did and what he taught, a lot of things he said, he even said, pick up your sword. He said that a couple times. So let's not skip over those parts. So I just wanted to say sometimes you got to walk in peace, but you also got to pray, but also you got to understand your history and understand what went on so you don't get duped and get deceived. There was a reason why you was a womanizer, brother. You wasn't the first womanizer, okay? That was a learned behavior. So that's all I'm going to say, and I'm done.
Well, can I respond to the brother?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Go ahead.
Well, I've heard you, my brother. I want to first give you a point of correction. What you said about, I think you touched on some assumptions about who I am, assuming that what I have learned, I sat in an institutional church building, which is not true. A little bit about me. I don't learn traditional way that a lot of us have raised up on. I was once in a Baptist institution. At that point in my life, I didn't really know about the Messiah, quote-unquote Jewish roots. I didn't know about these things. I just knew about denominationalism. I've totally rejected all of that. When it comes down to denominations, when it comes down to Baptist, Pentecostal, all that stuff like that, I reject it. I reject the system of institutionalized Christianity. I reject it. I've been like this for at least a good going on maybe 10, 12 years. So that's the first point. Secondly, I didn't mention just the new covenant as far as like, okay, you have to be in a new covenant, and that's just it in and of itself. I don't remember if that's exactly what you were saying. I specifically mentioned the presence of God being a solution. See, we can do this like this. As humanity, we can try to find solutions externally, or we can find solutions internally. And I believe all of us will agree, even if all of us don't agree to the external, we can all at least agree everyone has to look at their self in the mirror. And when it comes down to the New Covenant scriptures and the Messiah that I follow, who's my rabbi, my only rabbi, the Spirit of God, the Most High, His Heavenly Father, has come upon me. So since that happened, that's why I said from personal experience, that is a solution. That's why I mentioned about womanized and stuff like that, because He changed me. So if change for the better is good, that's what we preach. Now, and I just ended with this. The New Covenant mentioned in Jeremiah 31, what I was talking about. If we go by scripture, when I came on, my good brothers mentioned how, and this is my first time being here, but you mentioned how we just only read the scripture. That's it. So in Jeremiah 31, it says, "Behold, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Yehudah, Judah, not like the covenant that I made with their fathers on the day when I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt." So already in place from the beginning, something's a contradiction, because we can look up.
You got to keep reading that
can't be the new covenant.
You got to keep reading it though. It says nobody will teach either. So you got to keep.
I understand.
We still teaching that.
I understand.
So the new covenant probably not in full play though. That's what I go by. I go by like say if I get LeBron James a contract, a $7 million contract for 10 years, it's not fully established into his. You know what I'm saying? You still teaching. You teaching right now, brother. You doing a wonderful job, by the way. I just want you.
Whatever I can do, I just thank the Most High and just trying to share the joy that I have. But when it comes down to 34, no longer shall each one teach his neighbor. That's slightly a different topic for me. Well, the only thing I was mentioning at this point was the fact that it says, "When I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah, not like the covenant that I made with their fathers." So it has to be different. It can't be the same covenant in the past, because there was a covenant in the past, but this is mentioning a new.
Well, I've been quiet for a little second. Yeah, you're right.
I think that's actually a
renewed covenant, and I'll put my laws in their heart and their mind, so they would basically love to do my laws. Everything, all it up and down is right ruling. You know what I'm saying? And right ruling is how we treat each other, which goes back to love. And that's what I think is essentially what we basically saying. See, you done ran up on the wrong group of people because you don't even know what to expect. You done ran in like, "Hey, hold on, what's going on with the shotty?" And we in here meditating and humming and now reggae cure or whatever. And it's like,
let me say something real quick.
It's like, well, but hold on. All I want to say is we already understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is it's so much more to it. We can't. It's like, honestly, I had to tell somebody this to explain everything, every question that you have about what I believe or this, that, and the other. I would have to teach you what I believe. You know what I'm saying? And don't take the word teaching lightly as far as like, oh, something like that. But anytime you listen and learn something, even if you take that advice, somebody taught you something. But I would have to sit down. It would have to be sessions, because this took years, and the name of this thing is His Taught One. All right, because we reading these scriptures and we letting Him guide us. We letting Him lead us. We using His Spirit to follow this thing and figure this thing out, because that's what got us here in the first place. This whole thing, this platform is humble. This platform is humble. This platform is at the lowest level that you could possibly go to, because we're saying, hey, look, we've been wrong. We know we've been wrong, and all we want to know is what do you want us to know, and we're going to follow it. And it's like, okay, that was wrong, reset, or and some of us say, you know what, I reset and all that, I was wrong. And
I understand, brother.
It's like once you get to Isaiah, if you ain't pressed 2 or 3 reset buttons, you was cold beforehand. Like you say, you grew up in the Baptist church and this, that, and the other. So that's basically where we at. Like, right. I grew up in the Baptist church. I didn't got real, you know what I'm saying? Everybody got a different story. Everybody on here got a different story. We had a red show just talking about the different experiences that we had with the Most High. So you ran into a good group of people. This is what I'm saying. And you could be here to help us, but we could also be here to help you. We could be helping each other. You might have just been led here so you can understand some things yourself, and the Most High could be bringing you somewhere. And I know what it might have sounded like at the end, because I seen like at the end you came in, and it might have sounded real bad when we was talking about the doggone witchcraft sound looking like witchcraft.
No, it
didn't
sound bad.
That end of it.
You got.
Oh, okay. I didn't know like it's a sound, but we only got like 3 minutes left. And I don't want you to get the wrong impression of who we are or stuff like that. Brother Mercy, you know.
Real quick.
I mean, go ahead.
Ecclesiastes 1:9, brother. All you do is hold on to this one verse. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. So every time you keep talking about this new covenant, understand Solomon already figured it out. There's nothing new under the sun. And I'm done.
Yeah, I was just going by the scripture. Like I mentioned before, the brothers emphasized to me earlier, we're just reading the scriptures. That's what we're doing. We're going to contextualize and just read. So, you know, when there are certain things that look like discrepancies within the scriptures, we know that the Most High doesn't contradict himself. So this is why contextualizing is so important. And that's one thing I didn't understand. I'm not bashing the institutional churches, but because of my own lack of concern, I would say, I didn't understand about contextualizing. Therefore, I was a pawn or ensnared to be following men who may have been misusing, abusing, and twisting the scripture. We have to be very careful because in the New Covenant scriptures, and I just want to end with this, in the New Covenant scriptures, Hasatan, even the devil, spoke the scriptures. But so what? So my big thing is read, but also contextualize. And my fear is that a lot of people, a significant amount of people who come from the institutional places that I came from, they don't understand the Word of God by the Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, the Spirit of the Most High, truly guiding them and them understanding truly how to contextualize. They'll just fall into from one trap, the institution, to another trap, because I've seen it. Even
on that note, we got to close it.
Go with a Muslim.
We got to close it, bro. We got to close it, but there's about 30 seconds left. I want to close it out. I want to say, man, we invite you back. One thing did leave out is the language portion. That's part of it too. A lot of things